Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the No Laying Up live show / podcast. Solly here. TC is here. Hello, TC.
Hello, my friend.
DJ Pie is here. Hello, DJ Pie.
Greetings. What a day. What a day.
Big Randy is here. Hello, Mr. Big.
Hey, guys. Great to be back. Thanks for having me.
We have a lot to talk about. We have a guest in the green room that we're going to bring in right off the bat. He's only got a few minutes. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends, of course, at Yeti, who have been a great supporter of our shows this week, sponsoring us all week long. The Roadie 24. We do have to report it did run out of ice.
No,
it's still cold.
No, fake news.
At any moment.
The drink is still cold, but the ice has melted. It took a good 72 hours, but it could reform.
But we're not moving it until Rory wins a major. We decided that. So wait until Sunday night at Brookline before we dump out the ice.
Shout out to Keegan.
It is a small cooler ready for all of your big summer plans. It's slim and it's portable. It's enough space to fit snacks, beers, tall enough for bottles of wine. It is your go-to on-the-road cooler. Fits great in an SUV. So head to Yeti.com to shop the Roadies. Also want to give a shout out to our friends at Callaway. Odyssey was the most played putter at the PGA Championship this week. And with that achievement, Odyssey has now been the most played putter at 40 consecutive majors across the PGA, LPGA, and Champions Tours. This success is led by the comprehensive lineup, including the legendary White Hot insert and constant innovation like this year's Tri Hot 5K and Odyssey 11. With those new models and proven head shapes that the world's best players use week in and week out, Odyssey continues to be the #1 putter on every major tour. Find the right putter for you at odysseygolf.com.
Solly, I've got both the 11 and the Tri Hot in the bag right now.
There's one righty, one lefty.
Yeah, I have the righty Tri Hot and the lefty 11.
That's unbelievable.
Which, if you have two, do you have one? And speaking, we're going to get to that, but we're going to first welcome in our guest, the pro, Mr. Max Homa.
What's here?
Hey, Solly, that was some great ad reading, buddy.
Dude, I'm a professional at this, and you're a professional at what you do as well. So it's good to talk to a fellow professional.
Yeah, likewise.
Max, people were giving you so much shit on the way in. You know, what's this guy gonna do? When's he gonna do it in a major? When's he gonna show up? And the guy goes out and finishes T13 this week. Congratulations! I know we've got a lot more to talk about, but you've only got a few minutes here. Just quick summation of the week. What are you taking away?
Well, thank you first off for having me. I mean, the golf course was awesome. It was really hard. I was proud of the fact that I didn't feel like I had it all except for yesterday, the Saturday round. I didn't get much out of it. I hit the ball pretty amazing that day, but struggled a little bit here and there. The first 2 days today, I couldn't get comfy, but I kept it together. It was kind of fun to watch my short game, especially on the front nine, like keep me in it. And that's what I felt like was going to be hopefully going forward help me in these majors, because you're never gonna overpower the golf course. But it was a cool week, man. It was cool to kind of be in the mix. It was cool knowing today that like if I went out and balled, like I could win a major, and that was fun. But yeah, it's a pretty crazy feeling Sunday, and kind of in contention at a major, man. It's a different rush.
What did you get to watch the finish, and what was your reaction as any or all of that was going on?
Yeah, we Lacey pulled up the YouTube TV. I drove home or drove back to the hotel. Lacey was in the car, and so was Joe. So we were grinding. It's so hard, man. Winning is so hard, and I don't know how Mito, was feeling, but I mean, he's a rookie and he's a baller, but like it's just a lot of heat. The end of that golf course is so cool because you play. I think I saw you guys tweet. Like you have kind of a green light on 13. 14 today was playing ridiculously hard. 15's a green light if you hit the fairway. 16 was playing very long. 17 obviously could kind of be either, and then 18's tough. And he got through so much, and then it's just a tough drive. The little annoying. I mean, you guys probably preaching the choir. A little annoying. Faldo kind of ripping him for the drive he hit, or the club choice, because that's the shot I hit off that tee. That's the one JT was hitting. I think if you're comfy with like a low cut, it was such like a smart play. You can play like a smooth one, and it obviously just didn't hit a good one. But I like that play because you can kind of play it up the left. But once that happens, I'm sure things were kind of flying around, and it's just a badass hole, man. It's a badass hole. But what they did in the playoff being 13, 17, 18 was sick. Because 16, like, I love this course. 16, admittedly, I think is a pretty bad hole. And all, if you do the sum of all parts.
Bro. Here we go.
I'm just saying it's not like there's not, especially into the wind, like the fairway's a million yards wide, and you kind of get an angle if you're up the right. But I don't know. It's kind of a weird hole. But 17 is so good. 13 so good. Obviously, 18 is amazing. So what they did with that is unreal. And JT, man, I said it earlier. I don't know if I said it to you guys, but I said it to my friends. Like, he's the best player I've played with. And it's cool to see him go get a major because obviously he hasn't had one since like 17. And it's crazy when you think about how hard it must be to win majors if that kid can't rack them up. So that was pretty cool. But that was a pretty cool finish, man. That was a lot of young guns and a lot of good golf.
Were you kicking yourself after the bogey on 17 and then I was about to badass on 18?
Yeah, I was in a pretty pissy spot. I was in between clubs on the tee and just kind of spun a 3-wood a little and thought it might get to the bunker, and obviously went the hazard and made just an awful bogey on a hole you could just go left. But yeah, we were joking walking off the 18th tee, me and Joe, because I was like, I could have seen myself going birdie bogey, but I would not see myself going bogey birdie. So I guess all in all, I'll take it.
Is there anything you just mentioned in JT, and obviously all the players you see up close and him sticking out that much? What is it that sticks out to you? Like, what is it? Are you able to quantify it other than just being like, man, he's like really fucking good? Or is there something that like really sticks out to you?
Yeah, there is. He's obviously like a top 2 or 3 iron player in the world, and he has been for a while. So it's not like a new thing. Like that's his staple. But he's an okay driver. I mean, he hits the ball really far. He has really creative shots off the tee. I wouldn't say he's like mega accurate. Like that would probably be something that maybe bugs him at times. But when it's on, it's really good because he hits it really far, and he can hit that low cut, and he can hit the high draw. Like he has all the shots there. But when you mix that with iron play, like it doesn't really matter because he's going to get enough irons in his hands where he's going to just, beat up holes. But his short game is the most underrated short game on tour. The bunker shot he had on 17 in regulation was sick. Like he went ball first, played a spinner. It's hard to spin out of those bunkers, and he knows what he's doing. It's a lot of like the Jordan Spieth type stuff. Like he just has a lot of shots around there, but his finesse with the wedges, I think, is a separator. You look at somebody who can overpower par 5s, but can also lay up on them and not feel like he's giving much back. That's amazing. And his brain is, I think there's a reason Tiger and him are so close. Like he's a dog, man. He wants to win real bad, and he seems very comfortable in those spots. So I just think sum of all parts, it's very there's very little you can nitpick. He's an impressive dude.
I know you got to run here shortly, but we'll get you out of here on what did you learn this week? What's your biggest takeaway about yourself this week?
Oh, I learned that I don't need my A game to win a major, which is cool. Which is fun. I know that's like probably a cliche ass answer, but I think the most important part about winning your first tour event is knowing that it's not as perfect as you think it was going to be. I think everybody who's ever won one realized they could have played better. But I've never played in a major worth a damn. So I felt, you still feel like a little bit like I need everything to be clicking. And like on Thursday, I didn't drive the ball well, and this course set up great for me, and I've been driving the hell out of it. So I was like, oh man, like, of course, it's not here this week. And keep my head down and learning, taking what I learned from the Masters and some of these past major experiences, and just going and playing golf and getting the ball in the hole and waiting for that time for when it clicks was fun. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I played yesterday. I'm kicking myself more yesterday than today, because today I didn't really have it that great. I wasn't doing a good job on some shots that I had been excelling at. But at the same time, yesterday, I think I could have posted 4 or 5 under if I would have just made a couple putts. So that was kind of the difference. But it was cool to see, cut 2 out of the 4 days, I didn't feel great about my game. And that's what I think you see these guys do. You look at Justin yesterday, kind of holding on and keeping himself in the golf tournament. So I was proud of that. But yeah, majors are different, man. Like the scores just seem to go backwards more than forwards. And in tour events, they go forwards more than backwards. So you feel like your foot has to be on the gas. And it was cool, I guess, learning that about some majors. Like you just don't need to just fire. You don't need to feel like you're getting lapped ever. And, today, our goal was to get to 6, and, you're hoping for some help from Mito, obviously, and the rest of the crew. But I don't know, like getting more comfortable knowing that that's more likely than someone getting to 14 under, whereas at a tour event, I mean, you got to go out there and shoot like 60 to have a chance if you're 8 back. So just learning little stuff like that. I think that's cool. And that's what makes majors they're just so amazing. There's so much good play, but the course usually dominates.
On to Brookline, baby. Here we go.
That one's going to be even harder.
Pro, I just want to congratulate you as one of your biggest fans and one of your most outspoken critics. It's great to see you take this step. And tied for 13 at the Players, tied for 13 at the PGA Championship. Really, really look forward to the rest of the year, especially in the majors for you. Good job.
Thank you, Randy. As one of your biggest fans and not even close to your biggest critic, it feels nice to hear some kind words. But like I said, I strive to play well enough for you to just continue to bash me for not winning these things. So.
Hell yeah, you're getting there, man.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a deal.
It's gonna break through on one of these. Come on. So love it.
Good stuff, Max.
Thanks again for calling in. We'll see you safe travel.
Hey, and congrats again on the Stanford video, guys. That was incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah,
no,
thank you.
Update there later. They're starting to lift and separate out there.
And from a Cal guy such as yourself, that means a lot.
Yeah, I respect you guys enough to reach out an olive branch.
Max is going to donate a bunch of money to the Cal women's program so they can hire Ann Walker.
Exactly.
We just need $1 billion to build a Siebel practice facility. We're pretty close.
Start winning some majors, man.
There we go.
See you, Max.
See you, boys. Take
See
care.
ya.
Bye.
All right, Randy, we're going to start with you. Was this a big boy win for JT?
It was a great win. I think, Tron and I said yesterday, and maybe you guys did too, but I remember like I cut him a little bit of break yesterday for his play. He had come through the really hard wave on Thursday, Friday. Obviously didn't play that great yesterday, but to shoot a 67 and to go birdie par in that playoff, it was a great win. It was a fantastic win, and absolutely what I've been wanting to see out of JT, what I think we've all been expecting to see more out of him. It was a very, very nice win for him. I nothing but great things to say about today.
Does this remove the asterisk on the win at Quail Hollow? Kind of a 0.5 major wins now becomes to a validating
we're
win.
talking about, he's
It's
coming
a
out of the
proper
wrong wave.
Yeah, wrong wave.
I feel like everything kind of settles out.
Like it shouldn't even have gone to a playoff, right? Like they should have just like, all right, you and Will tied, but obviously you came out of the harder way.
Yeah.
You're the champion here. I think like I was really, really impressed with him. He like like yesterday, the worst shot that I feel like he hit yesterday was that wedge on 13, where he was, 90 or 100 yards out. He hit it maybe 80 yards, just dumped it in the front bunker. It was totally just like inexplicable. And today on 13, he didn't make the putt in the actual regulation play, but he hit it to 10 feet, hit a really, really nice shot from 94 yards out, and comes back in the playoff and basically hits it inside of that and then makes the putt. And it was like, I don't know. I just feel like I feel so confident in him when he has a wedge in his hands.
It felt like this was like it should have added up to this before it actually happened, right? We've been talking about how in control of his golf ball he's been for a long time, and it hasn't added up to. He's not been racking up wins. He's not been playing better than any other period of. He's not gotten better results than any other period in his career. He's actually had stretches with a lot better results.
But
this
could
has
have
looked
had
like
4 wins over the last 12 months.
But this is what it looks like his best golf, and it culminated, not capitulated, but culminated in today being the win. But
Mito capitulated.
He did. That's another point I want to make here is like, I said this on the preview pod, was going back and watching the 2017 PGA and how he won that, chipping in, making bomb birdie putts, having a ball fall on the lip and fall in is like how freaking hard it is to win, because if Mito Pereira steps up and hits a drive down the center of the fairway on 18, we don't leave the show talking about JT. Like something that
hits a 7-iron off the tee.
Yeah,
we're probably not talking about
it is something that is completely out of his hands, falling. Like this was a week where it was amazing how it was a survival test. I mean, I listed off the names on Twitter of all the guys that did not finish the tournament under par, and it's stunning. I mean, the guys that did, there's only a couple big names in that whole group, and he just outlasted a man. Hits a cold at like one of the worst shanks you could ever see on 6.
Royal Dornick stuff.
Gets up and down from the bunker to make bogey on it, and then comes back and birdies 4 holes after that, I believe, and left a couple out there. Yeah. Then comes out in the playoff, hits an okay drive off 16, lays it up, perfect wedge, birdie, perfect 3-wood, birdie, perfect drive, perfect 9-iron or 8-iron, 2-putt, and just it was nails.
So, yeah, I mean, I will say, like, we'll talk about Rory, but it's crazy to think that Rory was 5 under par after the first round, and 5 under par won the tournament.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is.
And birdied 4 out of his first 5 holes today.
I noticed that as well. Yes, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Solid to your point. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say JT's 32. I mean, God, he had 29. I almost think he left some out there, like you were saying. He missed a 10-footer for birdie on 13, missed an 8-footer on 15, and then had about 10 feet on 18 for birdie. It just was really, after that shank on 6, and then the rest of the way in, it was really, really impressive. I think 5 was like the worst.
Referencing the shank that JT had and what he did after that, and then thinking about the shanks that Randy had at Royal Dornick and how he played after that, when he, I believe, started playing entire holes with a hybrid, just like that. Fuck this, I'm so out. It's just, Randy, it shows that difference. It shows that difference in mentality.
I will say that, but he had a caddy, so you got to think if Bones is there,
and a damn fine caddy at that.
Right, if Bones is in Dornick, maybe things go a little differently for me. But it's a good point that you're making.
You're right though. Like the shot on 15, hit it to 8 feet. Like I just down the stretch, it felt like he was doing exactly what he wanted to do with the golf ball, and that's really, really rare to see someone like that in control.
And I think what's so cool about it too, like mentioning or building on exactly what you said, where like I'm not more comfortable with anybody else like with a wedge in their hand. It's weird that he gets you excited to watch him hit wedges. Like when he is at anywhere from 60 to 90 yards, you're like, oh, I'm excited to watch this next one, because that's what he does so well. But building on like what Max was saying, and just like the sum of his parts, is the fact that he's so good at something like that, which is so just like, I mean, there's an art to it, right, about controlling spin and all that stuff, but it's also just a repetitious skill, right? Just something that is, I'm the best in the world at this because I've done it a bunch. But the fact that he does that at that level, and he also hits the tee shot that he hit on 18 in regulation, is like, yo, this guy's a low-key like artist. And that's kind of what we said coming in, right? Was like, don't forget about those rounds he played at the Players where he was flashing like, yo, I'm not the TrackMan guy. Yeah. I'm a real boy. I'm a
real ball hitter.
I'm a grown ball hitter here, and I know what I'm doing. And you just kind of saw that leaderboard gravity start to take shape, and it was a blast. It was awesome to watch.
I think conversely though, it's got to be really, really tough when you have all of those shots, when you have that full toolbox, to know when to use each tool.
And I think it's on the Earn Your Edge podcast he did with the Altus guys about talking about how he works on his wedge game, which all we've ever heard about Dustin Johnson is he worked on TrackMan. But JT was like, no, like I learned how to hit, like, if I want to hit like the 68-yard 60 degree or the 72-yard 56 degree, like what the spin and trajectory has to be for each of the, like the numbers exactly how they have to be. Like, how do you get it to land 68 yards when it needs to land 68 yards? And he's like, yeah, 70 is not good enough. Like, it has to be. That's like, holy shit, man. I had not thought it through to that level, or didn't know it went to that level. And it feels like I'm wondering if going from, I feel like with one major, he was not, the question was still like about his major championship record. How many years does 2 majors now buy him? Is it a lifetime pass?
Well, you got to ask like Dustin Johnson, right? I mean, I still feel like we have those conversations about him.
They're PGAs. Like, we're not going to let them off.
Thank you, Tron. Let's introduce.
DJ's Masters is a total asterisk.
But Oakmont was the greatest win in the history of golf.
We were talking about like this is PGA.
There's shades of gray, man.
There's a bunch of club pros in the field. Brian Harmon was upset about playing with some of them this week. I know, but I'm just saying it's like he came out of difficult wave. However, kind of got crowned by a little bit of the field today. So those two things kind of cancel out, and then it's a PGA. So I feel like he probably has 1.5 majors.
He has 2. Like, we're not going to do this. We're not. This was a big boy major on this golf course.
I agree.
This was big time. And he used to be the king of, I think it was like Birkdale. He was so whiny about being on the wrong side of the draw, and I was like, yeah, dude, you have no chance. And then he gets a horrible side of the draw again, and you could see through 36 holes, he was just kind of like, yeah, I was pretty upset watching the golf yesterday afternoon, but like he just had moved on from it, and here he is.
I'll say,
I think my favorite thing, like, listen, I know Mr. Nicholas has put his foot in his mouth quite a few times, but the quote about majors and like, I've beat half the guys before we tee it up is so freaking true. And even hearing Mito like talk about, when it was, first of all, it was awesome that he did the interview with Amanda. Loved hearing from him and loved like, getting to kind of, close the circle on that. But hearing him be like, yeah, I mean, I was just hoping to make the cut this week. It's like, dude, that's got to fuck with you when you're trying to hit the shot JT hit on 18. You saw what happens when Mito tries to hit it without that experience and without all the kind of, context.
That's a Rotella thing.
Yes, exactly.
Like, he made that point in golf. It's not a game of perfect. I forget what it was about. How if you go out and your goal is to shoot 1 under for whatever and when you get to 4, you're fucked. Because
I would encourage everybody to go watch Strapped.
Yeah.
If you don't believe that.
Oh,
like,
you just explained my entire.
Yeah, but that helped me like get over my fear of going low. Was like, if you have to go out and be like, what's the best round you ever shot? That's what you have to go picture when you go tee it up. Or else if you get below that, your mind is not going to be able to handle it.
You have to accept that as normal.
You're naturally going to regress. Like, that's what your mind is telling you. You are in a place you should not be. And it felt like Mito, he had built up enough throughout the course of the day, but it felt like that whole day was a big regression backwards. And it finally caught up to him on 18.
And he had some of the greasiest up and downs and, putts and everything. I was like, holy shit, man. Like
might
props.
Be his day.
Yeah. Like, just, like you got it today. But there's gotta be something exhausting as well about having to shift that mentality mid-tournament, or like once you do make the cut and you're leading and it's like, holy shit. And like that takes up so much energy to try to shift your mentality midway through it. I think with JT, like him like not being bitchy yesterday when he wasn't playing well, and especially after he had played so well on Friday in the muck, I think that was a like very, very like it showed a lot of maturity from him, which I think that's something that we've been asking from him and expecting or wanting to see from him, is just a little bit of like more maturity, not just being bitchy on the golf course all the time. And he seemed like he was so much more even keeled this week.
And I feel like whenever I make this point or comment, it's a shot at Jimmy Johnson, and it's just not. But like having bones on the bag, and it's almost just like having a responsible adult. And again, that's not to say Jimmy Johnson wasn't, but it felt like, it almost feels like he's got an in-house governor on him, right? Or somebody that keeps him in something with the right process. There's more of an alpha and more inserting himself in the scenario than, say, Jimmy Johnson was.
I was going to say, I
don't know that
all projection. This is all projection, and I have no idea what JT's relationship with Jimmy Johnson is or was or whatever. But there's got to be a weird power dynamic almost, right? When
that's what I mean.
JT is like the wonderkind, right? Coming out of college, He is the star. He is the preeminent talent on the PGA Tour. And like, how are you're going to tell him to stop being a bitch? Like that's a really hard spot to put.
Even for all I know, he might have.
And yes, exactly.
By all accounts, Jimmy's a great caddy.
Yes, and that's a hard spot to put any caddy in.
Yeah.
Right. And it seems like going through that together, and it seems like their separation was fairly amicable and totally fine. But bringing Bones in is almost like okay, this is like chapter 2. Like let's almost like reset, right? And also just wild that Bones won 2 PGA Championships in a row.
I mean, yeah.
No, he didn't.
Oh no, sorry. Never mind. There was someone who was saying that. Disregard.
Ballingy. You got fooled by Ballingy.
I did. Yes, Ballingy tweeted that.
Yeah.
Ballingy, I'm coming for you.
It's kind of like JT 2.0, right? It's kind of like, hey, this was the right guy to shepherd him through this stage of his career, and then it doesn't. I think that measure, it doesn't even matter who that person was. You just need someone else besides that person, regardless of who it is, to shepherd him through the next stage.
Which might transition to our Rory conversation,
Yeah.
but I think we can hold off on
Yeah.
that later.
29 years old, 2-time major winner players, and 15 wins. I think, is it 15 wins and 2 majors is a lock for Hall of Fame?
I think so. 15 or
Not that anyone cares about that.
I was going to say, solid, frankly.
But to do that before you're 30 is something.
Stephen A. Smith, frankly.
We don't care.
We don't care.
We don't care. We don't care.
He joins.
ahead.
He joins a rather elusive group of winning multiple PGAs and no other majors. Dave Stockton and some guys from like the 20s and 30s.
How about that?
What is the major number over under for JT go to now? Is it 3.5?
Well, that's what I was going to say. The idea of JT 2.0, 3.0, whatever we're seeing here gets me really hyped, right?
Yeah.
Because especially Randy, I'll give you some shine here, but especially thinking Rahm was going to be the dude, right? And like he's going to be the guy that's just going to rattle off a bunch of majors and see, okay, Spieth is going to come back, or Morikawa's, he's going to be the guy that's going to just dominate. JT, we've always kind of said this, is like when he's running, man, he's got the highest gear, it seems like. And so, I'm not going to get caught up in the major recency bias and say, oh, I think he's going to win 8. But I mean, I feel like 2 more, it feels like it would be a disappointment if he doesn't get to 4.
I think 4 or 5 feels like, I don't know, probably, I mean, because he's 29. His prime's the next, 8 years?
It feels like there was, with decent reason, that he was a situation where he's putting more pressure on himself to win number 2. Because the overall record was weak and the one win, he probably just felt like, I'm wondering if 2 frees him up, right? Yeah. And this is the part after every one of these majors that we promise too many majors to the next guy. And I will say, like, it, honestly, he's lucky to have 2. Like the way the balls have bounced in the 2 that he's won, he's had some things around him go the right way for that to happen. Like he's due for a couple where he gives it a great run and doesn't end up winning as well.
You want me to ask Neil what he thinks?
I do. We're gonna check in with Neil on what the over under is for.
I think he needs to win a U.S. Open or a Masters or a British Open.
Yeah.
Before the monkey is off. This was still a PGA.
Yeah. I mean, this is a different PGA though. If this was Bellerive, this is different than Bellerive. This was like a U.S. Open test, I thought.
I would set the over under before we get Neil's. I would put it at 4.5. I'll be curious what
Neil's got it at 5.5.
That's high, but
I think it's 4 or 4. I think 4.5 is fair, Randy.
Yeah, I don't know which way I go. I think Bones being on the bag is not a small thing, as proved by his 2 major performances with him now. I mean, somebody's got to emerge.
I said that when I stepped away, but like, yeah, I always think about that quote, like who's going to save a player shots at Augusta, like ex caddy or Bones?
Yeah,
right. That's
we have a lot more to talk about, but from the tee to the green, you can get in on all the golf action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers who place their first wager on this weekend's golf tournament of $5 or more, you get a free bet equal to the amount you wagered if your first bet loses, up to $1,000. Just because you aren't out on the course does not mean you can't have a shot at a big payday. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still drive for show, putt for dough with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Golf Contest. I wore those things out this week. Big winners, very small winners, and 2 of them. Mito cost me a lot of money there on 18. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes this week. That's millions. I said millions, Randy. It's easy to play. Just pick 6 golfers, stay under the salary cap, and submit your lineup before the tournament tees off on Thursday. Don't miss out on all the action this week at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code use code NLU at sign up. New customers can place their first bet of $5 or more on the tournament. And if your bet loses, you'll get a risk-free bet back up to $1,000. That's code NLU at DraftKings Sportsbook. See show notes for further details.
It's a good reminder. I won $10.
Hey,
Good to
look
check.
at that.
Just snuck in on the NLU pool that we did.
Chad McGee won the NLU pool. He had Justin Thomas, Will Zalatoris, Matt Fitzpatrick, Mito Pereira,
Jesus,
Cameron Young,
what?
and Tyrrell Hatton.
Whoa,
That's gonna do it. That's gonna do it.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
that's gonna be tough to beat, man. That's
God.
gonna be tough to beat.
Great play in there. I was gonna say this when we were talking some with
Like
you
it
know,
wasn't
Max.
even close.
Yeah.
Won by 40.
Jesus, talking about Mito on 18. That shot, and I have hit this shot before.
Oh, I've hit that shot a lot of times.
It looked like somebody trying to get it over with. Like when I get anxious for a certain shot, I will get up there quick and hit it just a little fast, like trying to get it over with. And that's what it felt like I was looking at.
I think the speed at which he, time speeds up, right? When you're in that moment, I guess I'm told. Not that I know, but like I definitely begrudge him for that. I don't begrudge him for the shot that he hit though, because he hit the same shot.
He'd been hitting it
like,
constantly.
a
The
few
choice,
times.
the choice of the shot. I agree.
Yeah, like that was
It's a bad swing.
Max said it too. Like that's a play, right?
Yeah.
It's like take on the risk at first, like off the tee, or take on the risk with your second shot having 200 plus into that green.
And he was not driving it well to start with. So anyone who I was joking about obviously hitting 7-iron off the tee, but anyone who's he should hit 3-wood, he should do this. It's like, dude, he's already pretty squirrely. Like
It's kind of like the Phil at Winged Foot.
Exactly. I'm fine with the biggest club face and try to put it out into the wide fairway and try to keep hitting that same little, like, it almost seemed like it was, like a reverse double cross, right? Where it's like I'm trying to like hit the really, really, really smart shot. And
So it's a quadruple cross.
yeah, and it's just like, that's what I mean. Like
It's like Zalatoris' putting stroke.
Yes, exactly. And it's a hard one to verbalize, but weirdly, I know exactly what that feels like. Where you're trying to hit that like
no.
low bullet. And you're like, oh God, that's not the window we were looking for. I will say, Mito was fun to watch, man. I was trying to talk myself into excitement for him winning, considering like what else was on the leaderboard, and trying to will myself into Rory and JT and all these other stories. But he stepped up, and he obviously didn't have his best stuff today, but stepped up and holed a ton of putts. It was the par on 10, I think, was the kind of sidewinder one. It was unbelievable. And it's just like,
even the ones that didn't go in.
Very, very greasy. Total grease ball.
I was gonna say maybe by volume, because he left himself a lot of putts. He made a lot, but he
Yes.
lost a stroke and a half on the field in putting today.
Yes.
So
Ikamito is a good. That's a good.
Where
smash.
on the 18th hole debacle, where do you put that in context to some other 18th or 72nd hole collapses that we've seen? Where where does that stand?
It's not Phil's career resume and going for the career Grand Slam and going for 3 majors in a row. Obviously, there was so much more on the line at Winged Foot, but it's the same exact stroke situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
That was
needed
gonna be
par.
my question.
Yeah.
So he's one ahead
and
needs
doubled.
par and doubles, and
Yeah.
so misses the playoff.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So it same exact situation, and it's dumb because like that old me, like didn't that like cover golf would have just been definitely rooting for that, and then now like the more I see it, like you're rooting for something exciting to happen, but when you get that late in it, you're like, shit, something bad's gonna have to happen for this to get exciting, and something really bad happened. Like it was,
which I had kind of had in the back of my notebook for the whole week, was like, oh man, I don't know the last time we've had an 18th hole like this. Like there's disaster looming here, and yeah, I wouldn't say it was like a thrill to watch, but in order to clear the way for it, we had to sacrifice Mito for the Zalatoris JT playoff, and I'm okay with that.
It was going to be hard to kind of put Mito winning the PGA in like perspective, because it just like nothing about it really made sense. Obviously, he's an enormous talent. Obviously, he played incredible golf, but it's not like he was necessarily trending towards this, or
it would have been a bit of the Siwoo Kim winning the Players. Just like, yeah, dude, amazing talent.
Wow,
can't wait to see more from this guy. And then it's like, I'm probably not going to think about that too much.
Probably an international team stalwart for the President's Cup as well.
Exactly. I would say I was disappointed, humiliated by the actions of TC, completely abandoning Mito Say
Just
for
because I
a week,
invented the guy
just
doesn't mean that
the whole week. Oh, Mito, I've been on this guy the whole time.
have
You guys
been
need
on
to
him.
apologize to me for Mito. You're not shouting out Mito. And as soon as Cam Young gets up there, so you were saying it's Daniel Day-Lewis. I've abandoned my
I abandoned my boy.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
he's one of my. You know what? I invented him, but
It
that
was a lot
doesn't.
like the shrimp, the way you treated
It's
the
a great
shrimp.
shrimp. Yeah.
Yeah, you kept shouting him out. You wouldn't take him on your FedEx Cup team.
No, I just, you know what? He's good. I just didn't like. I was like, hey, we need to talk about this dude because he's doing it. Like I told you guys.
Oh, look, he doing it.
He's doing it.
No, Thursday night I was on you. I said, talk about Mito. Shout him out. Shout him out. Aren't you glad I told you to shout him out?
We never would have even noticed he was there without you.
I mean, the putt he made on 16 was, or sorry, no, he missed that one. I'm trying to think which.
Was it 15? He made a clutch power putt.
I think so.
No, all right,
No.
yeah, actually 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
He made 11 footer on 16.
Yeah, he made some fucking big ass
Yeah.
putts.
He
I
just,
mean,
to Solly's point,
he
he
had
hit
a
it
lot
all
of
over the yard.
yeah, and
And-
he kept, leaving himself in really bad spots too.
He played a bad round of golf. He shot 75 and he was 3 over for the day going into 18. Like it was not like it was not going to be a triumphant march to the finish. So, but stood up there, like I said this on Twitter, like everybody's got to give interviews now. If you go, like, first of all, English is not your first language, and you like you admit this yourself. You don't speak English great. To stand up after like the biggest heartbreak of your career and do a national televised interview.
Amen.
Yep. All of you got to do it. That's the rule now.
Not
That's
only
just the
that,
rule.
you got to stand up there and you got to watch that swing that he took on 18 and see it on video for the first time. You're like, oh yeah. I mean, obviously you can see the swing is not good.
Porter tweeted that it looked like he was getting electrocuted.
Yeah, it was tough.
Which
poor
Rory
Joaquin,
skipped media
too.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Which like Rory, like do better. Just like
Yeah.
straight up.
Don't love it.
I do want to shout out flip side of that coin. Picking Cam Young to win was inspired stuff. I
Yeah.
thought he was going to do it there as we kind of made the turn, got in that first third of the
Yeah.
back nine, but you could kind of see the moment squeeze up on him a little bit those last
Yeah.
3 holes or so.
There were
as
a
well.
few, like he missed a relatively short birdie putt on the front. And then
Oh, I thought he was. I mean, I didn't know what we were going to get. And then he made just a really bad bogey on one, kind of chunking that one out of
Yeah.
the sand, and
but then comes back and
then he
birdies
just
two.
was nails. He was kind
birdies
of
two,
the
birdies
best of those 4 up on top of the
yeah,
leaderboard.
birdies two, and like I mean, he had 3 or 4 more like really, really good looks inside of 12 feet, and they just didn't go in.
He's not a world-class putter, and he's just
No.
truly a world-class ball striker. He putted pretty well this week, but he was 73rd today out of 78 guys on the greens.
I mean,
Like,
shit, if he has one shot back, if he has that approach into 16 back, he just missed, just missed in a bad spot that you can't miss. And like, I feel like if he has that shot back, he's either in the playoff or like winning the golf tournament outright, I think.
Talk about a dude that is just like sign me up to watch him play big boy golf courses. I'm in for that going forward.
He's going
for
to
the
kick
next
himself
15
because
years.
he was 6 under standing on 13T, which
Yeah.
is par 5. And as we discussed, 13 is a green light, 15 was a green light, 17 green light, and he played the last 6 holes 2 over. But man, that dude is a supreme talent. He is going to be. I just like going through the data golf strokes gain stuff today and like cracking down. I was looking at 9 months, 6 months, 3 months. He's been like a top 25 player in the world over the last 9 months, top 20 over the last 6 months, top 10 over the last 3 months, and top 6 in the last month. Like it's very, very real. And he might get screwed out of the President's Cup because the point system is horrible and it goes all the way back to like 2019. And there's a long way to go, but I think should, as of right now, if we were playing, he would be on that tee.
And shout out to Kamish.
That's right. And he kept reminding me to check the score of the baseball games.
Yeah, he
which is
did.
great.
Can we talk
Shout out
about
to Aroldis Chapman,
We
who
got to
gave up
talk
3 on
about the 4-wood that he hit on what was the first
On 13.
No, it was on
On
it was
5.
on 5.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was let's see here. He was 287
That was the one that hit.
284 yards out, and he hits this high floaty 4-wood, goes 287 yards to 18 feet.
Which, like, I didn't even get to, catch my breath before Zalator stood up with iron from 268 and dropped an iron on the green shortly after that, too, which we haven't talked about Willie Z yet. Weird day for Will overall.
Randy,
but
I'm curious where you stand on Willie Z.
Oh, I think I'm all. I gotta say I'm all in on Willie Z. I was just getting ready to ask the question. I think it's safe to say he's the best player to not win a PGA Tour title. Is he the best player not to win a major at this point?
Is he the best player in the world if you took out putting?
That might be the rib.
He didn't like that didn't look like a 71 today. First and foremost.
Best player in the. I'd have to think on that.
Randy, that's a provocative question.
And I know he putted well this week, so it's not,
I mean, you just got to look at what he does in big spots. I mean, this guy is. I don't know.
Willie Z or Cam Smith?
I was gonna say, is it Cam Smith?
I mean, Cam played really well this week, and his putter let him down.
Yeah,
because he like it was slow greens, right?
Zalatoris or Cam Smith? Zalatoris or Hovland?
I mean, you're not gonna want to agree with this, Randy, but Cantlay.
No, fuck no.
I mean,
there's a lot. You've lost me this week on that one too.
We're not doing that.
Well, no, it's a good question because obviously Zalatoris hasn't won a PGA event, so.
Right.
Yeah, but
on the one hand, but going forward, like who are you taking? I think it's Zalatoris, man. He's shown me more in big spots than Cam or Cantlay or Hovland and any of those guys.
Hovland has yet to have a top 10 in a major.
Really? That hurts.
He has a T13 U.S. Open in 2020, T12. He was a low AM in 2019 at the U.S. Open, T12, 21 Open Championship. Other than that, no.
He's winning those though, as you call them, big dick events on the Euro Tour.
Stop. We can do that later with Fitz. Stop.
That's unbecoming.
You're being catty. Stop it.
You're being glib. That's what you're being. Look at the Fitz, okay?
Dude, Zalatoris' majors. What he's made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 top 10s and 7 starts. 4 top 10s and 7 starts.
I think it's 9 starts now, right? Because he had a couple.
Oh, sorry, he had one in 2018.
He had yeah. So this is another runner-up finish for him. It's his second solo runner-up finish in majors, and yeah, this is 6th top 10.
I think what separates like Cam, obviously, awesome track record at Augusta specifically. Will's kind of proven it anywhere, and I think that maybe is what gives him the nod in my mind. It just like he's like supreme ball striker, and when he putts good enough, like he did this week, like he's always going to have a chance.
This is kind of very much stating the obvious, but I think it's worth mentioning at all the majors at this point. Is we always talk about like horses only kind of seem to win these things, blah 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 blah. It's becoming so much more glaring every single major that goes on, like how different the PGA Tour is from the majors.
Yes.
And Zalatoris is the perfect example of that, of someone who's, I keep messing up the count, but 5 in the 5 out of 8.
Yeah.
5 and 8, 5 out of 8 in the top 10.
And 1 was when he was an amateur. So 7 as a pro, and he withdrew from the Open Championship, and he was playing well in that one too.
That is insane, man. That the cream continues to rise. And that's where again, we'll get to Rory stuff, but like Rory's in that camp too. And I know he's punting him away. I know it's not like he's not getting the results. Yes, he absolutely should have won this week, but he does keep showing up, and that is very much not nothing. And so I'm going to take a lot of shit for my Rory stuff this week. I just need to get out in front on that block because that's irrefutable.
We're getting a comment in here. I'm hoping somebody can update us on it, that JT just absolutely detonating KVV without realizing he did it. I'd like to hear details on that. We're trying to get KVV on the show.
Well, we were trying to, but now he's dead. It sounds like
he's dead. We're gonna get him. He wrote an article overnight talking about JT and Rory missing their opportunities in major championships. Producer Cody is here to tell us about it.
Yeah, checking in. So just coming in from Dylan tweeted it. To his credit, KVV asked JT if he'd paid attention to any of the chatter that he'd blown his chance to win on Saturday. JT said, "No, I didn't, but hell of a call by them, whoever said it."
He's putting cases on all you bitches.
KVV probably looking
really
around the room.
That's really good.
I like KVV raising his hand. And
yes.
saying,
KVV is perfect to be able to handle this. I've been in this spot where you have something that's going viral that like you totally fucked up, and I do not handle it nearly as well as KVV will. I promise that.
And that's what, get on a block, man. Get out there, put your neck out there. You're not gonna bat 1,000.
JT was 1.2% coming into today.
Exactly.
Like that was a pretty safe column to write.
This was a white squall a white swan, whatever the weather term is.
Guys, I have a question.
Black swan.
Black
Sure.
Swan.
Black Swan event.
Black Swan event.
Yeah, because swans are white.
Can you hold
Well,
your
right,
question
right,
for
sure.
1 second?
Yeah.
Just what did we say was how far back was too far back last night?
Minus,
Did we?
-1. It was. We were debating
Okay.
-1.
Yeah,
or
either
even,
said
I
2 or
think.
1. I
If
don't know.
anyone remembers, I think we would have said the -2s were alive. Correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Just want to say your question.
Is Rory the best player to like without a major?
Or Jimmy Walker.
Well, that yeah. I mean, Jimmy Walker stinks though. I mean, he U.S. Open won by 8 shots over Jason Day. Like that wasn't a real
Oh
one.
my God, we're gonna do this.
We had the PGA won by
Birkdale was a
8
real win.
shots. He didn't win at Birkdale. He won
Or
at Hoylake.
Hoylake, I mean.
That was real.
That was a real
At the
win.
proper
Okay.
golf course.
Yeah. It was kind of calm that week though. It was kind of dome golf, right?
Valhalla was a real
The
win.
weekend it blew. The weekend it blew a little bit.
Valhalla was
a real win.
real because it was alpha shit.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Where
It
he
was-
played, where he muscled his way up the 8th. That was disgusting. I'll never forgive him for that.
Going back to Cantlay or Zalatoris or like I think there's something to be said for Cam Smith showing up this week and like playing relatively well here because this is the first time that he's finished top 40 in a major or
Cam
in a PGA.
Oh, okay.
He's
like, I
got
feel like
he's
he
got
was
the
close to
3
the
top
Masters.
10s or sorry the 4 top 10s in the Masters. He's got a T4 in the U.S. Open in 2015.
God, he has 4 top 10s at the Masters.
Yeah, and then he doesn't have
So
Limited-
many.
it's limited field.
he's got a T20 at the Open Championship, or sorry, the British Open, T33 at the British Open, and then that's all. So it's like I'm expecting him to start stacking up PGAs, but it's a good sign for both Cam and this PGA specifically that it was a relatively proper setup.
Yeah.
like he ball striking wise, he would have been right there. He just putted like shit all week.
And I think Cam has gotten the software update as well. I think we're seeing Cam 2.0 or possibly even 3.0.
I think Cam's in the cloud.
He possibly now he is, yeah. Which is where I think those numbers are going to start to change.
He's like VMware compatible, all sorts of.
He's like they're able to put more RAM in, so he's able to like. He can
Don't
just
you
go
think
way faster.
Cam, going back to what Max said at the beginning, I feel like Cam's the type of guy who's just got to learn that lesson. Like we don't always have to hit it at the flag and try to make birdie in some of these major spots. He just seems like a guy that, can get really hot and then it like leads him into bad spots where he like keeps going for flags. And then it's like, oh man, that's a bad bogey. And then things kind of seem to spiral. I feel like, if he can almost learn to take the foot off from time to time, he could be a very legit contender in all the majors.
Which there's something so cool about Max saying that, because I would guarantee if you were interviewing him, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, like he would have given that answer, right? Be like, yeah, I've read interviews and I've heard people say like you don't have to have your best stuff to win and blah 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 blah. But there's like no matter what intellectually, like you still just have to go through it, and I think that applies to Cam too. So
He lipped out so many damn times. Every time they cut to him, he was lipping out a putt.
he's also made everything for like 2 years.
I know, but it was as someone that had a little action on him. It was a little frustrating.
I just
so.
couldn't believe
hate that for you.
Talking about Zalatoris a little bit more, I couldn't believe like the left miss. I mean, it was like left, like
Kinda had the right
chloroform
miss going all
balls.
day
Yeah,
yesterday.
it was like it was the
Compensation.
overcorrection for yesterday. And then I will say, I hats off to Will Zalatoris for refusing to he didn't walk up to the situation behind the green when he hit it in the bushes, which was like kind of reminiscent of Mickelson on 4 at Augusta.
Yeah.
And just automatically be like, well, I get line of sight here, and then like wade into the bush and act like he could hit one, because there's a lot of guys on tour that would have done that, and in a regular PGA Tour event, like they would have given that to him, no questions asked.
This is the most circumstantial evidence imaginable. Just
Prove it wrong.
We need to
Prove it wrong.
convict them. We need to convict them on this evidence. But
Zalatoris seems like a very real dude.
Stand up guy.
The more I hear him talk, the more like his interviews are awesome. I was kind of trying to talk myself out of Zalatoris.
Yeah, I wasn't buying that.
No, I
earlier.
was I was amongst friends. I was putting out some takes, and you helped me find the wall there.
You got canceled.
Yeah. I was doing some testing, and you guys reeled me back in. And I had a great time watching him.
I feel like there's a lot of reasons. It's interesting to watch no matter what. The close-up putting alone. Randy?
No, I was just going to say, he continues a long tradition of only major runner-ups being interviewed on the trap draw.
Great point.
We salute him for that.
Bob May,
John Van
de Velde, things of that nature.
Will
Do we have any
Zalatoris.
others?
You
Exactly.
guys need to get Louis on the pod.
Yeah.
But he's won. He's won
Yeah.
allegedly.
Well, by the transitive property, he didn't really win because it was like Rory's win. He won by 7. Doesn't count.
Guys, I got something to say about his putting stroke.
Okay.
I think
You're gonna try it. You're gonna try
I
it.
think it's almost so bad it's good.
Oh, that's what I've been saying. He's freed up. Nobody wants to listen to me. He's got the stroke dialed.
It doesn't matter what it looks like on the way back. You
does
just got to
not.
hit the position.
It
Talk to
does
Jim
not.
Furyk, man.
Well, I almost think him
College.
doing like the figure eight, like that's good for him, man. Like he just
Yes.
knows different spots he's got to get it to, and then it releases him to
Is
come
it the
through
same
ball.
every time,
It-
or does he?
It's
Like-
got varying speeds. He's got an off-speed pitch. It's got a fastball, right? From different range, he kind of changes his timing
He
up a
kind
little
of
bit.
paused Hideki style
He
at one
does,
point
a
today.
little
It depends if there's base runners out also.
Well, I was
He's
thinking
gotta
about
get to the
that
plate quicker.
on 8 when he putted on 18.
Stance.
Like so
if he goes in the stretch, it does change a little bit.
so many people were definitely watching golf that don't normally watch golf, saw his putt on 18 and were like, whoa, go back, rewind that.
Some
No, everything you guys are saying, it seems super sustainable. I think he's going to definitely have the reroute. That's going to be no issue going forward.
I
don't know how it breaks anymore though. I guess maybe that's more what I'm trying to say.
That's actually well said. Okay, I see.
Yeah. Like
How is it going to get worse?
it's as bad as it can get, and it's still good enough to win a major. Is kind of what gives me a lot of hope. I think.
I also think that help me out with this take because I'm workshopping this one, but losing in a playoff in a major is different than finishing second in a major. Like you played 72 holes and no one beat you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a footnote a little bit that he lost in a playoff, but I just think that that's one especially tough way to lose a major, and two that's a little different category.
I liked his
I think it
interview. He
bolsters
said,
your-
Hey, I'm motivated.
Yeah,
Like I'm hungrier than ever right now. Like I love hearing a guy instead of being down, it's like he's got his chin up and he's ready to fucking punch somebody and be like, let's get back at it like first thing tomorrow.
Which
Man.
talk about Brookline, man. I mean, someone who drives
Yeah.
it great and hits irons great. Like, is that going to play? It seems like it'd go well.
Yeah.
10th this week in stroke skiing putting.
Exactly.
Willie Z.
No, I like it takes just to get like because that was even college coaches like weren't recruiting him because he like his putting stroke was so bad. But
Where
it's
did
like
he end up going? I never
wait
didn't hear
for
that.
it.
I didn't hear that this week.
I know. No, but
No, I'm not-
it was
it's
a
not to you.
concern.
Shout out to the
Kelder.
No, but it's very much like just being in a major championship and contending. Can you imagine like the mental strength that must take to have that putting stroke and be able to like that's insane.
Yeah.
That's like taking my putting stroke and then contending in a fucking major with it.
He should have put 2 putters in the bag like you.
I will say Randy, he is arm lock though.
He is lock. Of course, we don't like that. Yeah, I don't know.
His putting stroke looks like your Wi-Fi right now. Is all I'm going to say.
Oh, it's not good. Yeah, I wish he wasn't. I wish he wasn't arm lock, obviously.
Is
But
Dallas having a moment? I mean,
A lot of people are shout out to the commission.
shout out to Simmons too.
That's right.
We got Speed, we got Scheffler, and we got
Well, we're gonna go investigate next week. The boys, a
Zalatoris.
couple of the boys will be there in the flesh next week.
All those bad golf courses on the east side of the Plex are producing some great some great golfers.
Cody, you have something to add?
Yeah. I just want to, before we get too far down this route, don't say who's actually going. I'm afraid of the security situation that was going to greet us at DFW. As chief security officer here, I just don't want paparazzi, everybody else storming the gates after my guy there.
This wouldn't be an issue if Southwest didn't cut their direct into Love Field, but that's more of a
I
topic.
do
for
not
the
want to
trap
go to
trial.
Love Field. I'm more comfortable going to DFW because like the people in Fort Worth love me. They love me. It's just I have to get the
You
hell
might-
out of
You might
DFW.
you know who else flew to Love Field?
Before-
JFK.
Before this ends up as a trap draw, we got to talk about
Really?
Rory.
Yeah.
Before this ends up with the trap draw, we got to get to the Crown Prince.
do not rent a convertible next week.
Exactly. The mixed splinter. Randy, why don't you start? What would you see from the mixed splinter today? Because I thought he was thawing out, man. I
You
thought
were
they-
sweating it, Randy.
You should have seen
Oh
our
my
Slack
God.
channel. Our Slack channel was fucking gross. What you guys were doing like at midday today after he teed off.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I sent one message to the Slack channel.
yeah, it was you guys lathering
Oh,
each other.
sorry.
up.
We were just replying to your tweets.
Don't you guys feel like Charlie Brown? I mean, how many times is Lucy going to pull that football away before you?
Yes, I
know.
very, very much do. For sure. And yes, of course, everybody can take their victory lap. It went just the way everybody on their couches said it was going to go. Congratulations to everyone who wants to shit on the most exciting player in golf. That's really, really cool.
How about the chip? How about the chip on?
Well, he's trying to hold
on
it.
trying
on
to hold
17. He's trying to
No, on
hold it.
6.
That was bad.
That was bad.
That was really, really
Okay,
bad. Yeah,
good.
yeah. No, that was a super.
We
We're
gotta
like,
start
I
somewhere.
think he's gonna make this probably. He's 40 feet short. That was bad.
I honestly I don't have anything to add. I mean, it is what it is. I've said my piece. It just, I feel bad for him.
The fact that he didn't make a bogey from like he made all pars from 7 to 16 is very un-Rory like.
He hit it. He had a lot of really good shots in that stretch and left a lot of just barely below 50% putts, and like none of them went in. And most of them were pretty good putts. They weren't. He was robbed on one of them that really, really, really could have gone in. And I think Jamie Weir tweeted it out. Over the last 27 holes, he missed like 11 birdie putts inside 15 feet or something like that. But overall, like for the week, he putted. He was 43rd. He gained a shot, but like you just don't win. If you want to win majors, you need to have a major gain day or gain week on the
He
greens.
drove it really well today.
He
other
did.
than, like 13.
And he hit it great. Of course, he had the couple aberrations, the triple and the double. I think he would love to have those 5 shots back from the par 3s yesterday. Probably. I looking back, I think that hurt us.
Really?
But and this is where I don't have a defense. Again, like I said, I hope everybody, really, really feels nice and full from what they watched. Randy, let me ask you this. A positive week or a negative week for Rory?
I think a negative week. I think it just adds to the scar tissue and the narrative. I think it, it just digs that hole a little bit deeper, adds a little bit more pressure.
And that's where I will just respectfully disagree. And this is where I need to be very, very careful. My lawyers are in my ear already to not incriminate myself on the big tone situation. But dude,
You've already been convicted on that.
Him
so
continuing to show up, like finishing second at the Masters and finishing 5th or 8th or something this week. Like, you're not going to convince me that like this is a bad thing. It's going to click. Majors are really freaking hard to win. There's so many things that need to line up. Like I think it's another positive week, even if everybody wants to take their dunks and make fun of what we saw.
I agree, Deeds. I think there's a certain balance in the step and everything.
I hear what you're saying. I think this is the type of week when next year, when we pull up Wikipedia and look at his major record, we see the yellow 8 and we go, oh man, top 10, he's playing really. But I think when you dig in and really get on like a micro basis, opening with a 65, getting that second round in the easiest conditions guys are going to get all week and essentially throwing that away, it's a disappointment in my opinion. I don't know how it could be a positive.
I think it's a disappointment, but it's also like, I don't know, this plus the Masters, it just seems like the fire's back.
I agree.
It does. And I struggle to, again, like if we're looking at what his baseline is as a player, he outperformed that this week on a strokes gain basis, on an average basis. Like he performed better than he normally does in a golf event. So it's hard to be like, all right, this is a failure. To when he's tried to summon his best golf, he has not done that in past years. It has not felt like that. Maybe he does it for one round, but overall, he played a really good tournament. And it's hard for me to sit here and say for somebody that beat Scotty, Rahm, Morikawa, you like just go down the list of all of the best players in the world that like.
But that's taking it out of context, though, too.
Not really. It's like this tournament. If this week is a disappointment for them, what is it for those guys? Is where and they get a pass for all of that. That Scotty missing the cut will be a footnote forever. Yet, and people want to still sit here and say that this was not a good week for Rory.
And what I'm trying to point out is, trust me, man, I've seen the backdoor top 10. I know what the backdoor top 10 looks like when he's non-competitive all week. This was not that.
Yeah.
Don't put this in the same bucket. I know it looked like it. It smelled like it. It sounded like it as he was coming up on Sunday. This was not the same thing. He played really freaking good this week. And he played really freaking good at Augusta. And there are, I think, Randy, like coming into this week was the big monkey. I know I keep saying it all week, was like, you got to get it done in that first round. You got to get it done in that first round. And I feel like he did. And that is a big positive to take into Brookline, where again, just like Zalatoris, like I think he's going to play really freaking good. And like, if we keep saying all these guys continue to separate and all these like real golfers show up at the real golf courses, then like, give me the guy who's done it 4 times. I know he might be a ghost, and that guy, that's almost a decade now, but still, like, give me that guy statistically against, Fitzpatrick and Mito and Fleetwood and all these guys that were kind of knocking on the door today. And I'm going to get hurt in that regard many, many times. And I've come to terms with that this week in that, like, listen, if he keeps coming close, then that means he's better than most players on the planet.
I feel like he's trending. It's going in the right direction again. It didn't feel like that for a long time.
Having said that, he
Right.
stunk in certain spots this week, and I'm here to acknowledge that.
It's got to be a better putter.
Yes.
Like that's it. Just if you want to win the major, you're going to get a lot of T7s if you putt like you did this week, and you got to escalate the putt. Like literally everyone in the top 5 smoked him on the greens this week.
But we've seen him do the non-competitive top 10, and we've seen him flat out miss cuts, be completely like uncompetitive at majors. And this is not the same guy. We're seeing a guy that is hitting the ball so much better.
I think it's probably better than a solo 8th, because he was trying to, like, he was
trying to
his,
win.
he was putting his foot down on the gas on 17, made the bogey, like easily could have made par there, but if he's not trying to do that, or or birdie, like it was a top 5 or top 4 performance. Again, I think
can I interject here? I just have my whole issue though is he's supposedly the most talented golfer in the world, one of the all-time greats. And listen to how we're discussing this. It's not.
he's like
we don't talk this. We don't talk this way about Tiger. We don't talk this way about the true greats.
I don't think he's one of the true greats.
Then that's fine. Then we need to. Then we need to like all get on a baseline of what we think Rory is, because I'm.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question then, Randy? Is Phil a true great?
Yes.
Okay. To this point in his career, Phil had 0 majors, and over the course of Phil's career, he won 5.2% of the majors that he's teed it up in. Rory has won 7.5% of the majors that he's teed it up in to this point. So
that's fine.
They've got different career arcs. For
Exactly.
sure. And I think Rory can elevate himself to be one of the greats, just like Phil did later in his career. But I don't think he's there yet. I'm not talking about him like he's one of the true greats. It like he kind of reminds me of Jameis Winston, where he's fucking awesome one of these drives, and then the next drive he comes out and he misses 2 wide open receivers and he throws like a dog shit interception. Then he comes back out and like he throws for 4,500 yards and he's just lighting it up, and he's got a big arm and it's spectacular to watch. And then he just
Probably a massive Publix guy in South Florida.
and then he just keeps making like these boneheaded mistakes. You're like, how does that happen, man? Like, you didn't see the safety shaded that
guy
way.
didn't even have to move.
Yeah,
Threw it right to him.
like that's how I feel watching Rory. It's like how, why, like what, but I feel the last 2 majors I felt less and less of that
Yeah.
as we've gone along.
I think I'm with you on most of that. I'm of course not a huge football guy, but I think I'm with you, Randy. I think I actually agree with a lot of what you're saying, and I don't want to misconstrue myself as thinking like he is one of the all-time greats. I think he is in a tier below, but I still think he's in a tier above most of the little boys that we see week to week. And I assure you,
listen, I am with you on that. I am with you.
Speaking of little boys, I think we got a man to bring in here.
Oh man.
Oh, we heard you got shamed.
Somebody's ears were burning as we were talking about Rory. Welcome to TV.
Fellas, let me just say good morning. Yeah. Let me tell you a quick funny story before we get to JT. So in like 2004, Skip Bayless wrote a piece on ESPN the night before the Sunday Masters that was basically like, Phil stinks. He can never win this tournament. This is just proof that he has blown it yet again. I guarantee tomorrow he will not get it done. And me being like a young, precocious golf fan, I was so pissed. I think I wrote like a comment, like we said, I'll send the author a comment. And it was like, you're so wrong. Wait, Phil's going to come back. And then I was so mad when Skip didn't address it in the column the next day, like basically just ignored that he had ever had this take. So it's just proof that if you either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain.
Can you give us the we've only been reading some tweets, but can you give us the rundown of the press conference question?
Yeah, so if there's really anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about here, I mean, maybe you guys have already talked about it at length, but last night I wrote a column that was like, what another missed opportunity for JT and Rory. Seems clear that they just they don't have that it thing that Tiger had. where they, don't shoot themselves out of a tournament and they can grind and grind and grind. And it's really kind of a bummer. And felt pretty good about the column.
It was a good
till
call.
about-
Great call.
It was
until about 4 o'clock this afternoon when things started to. No, I mean, honestly, I didn't want to make this about me at all, but I felt like I wanted to give Justin Thomas an opportunity to dunk on me if he wanted it, if he had seen the column or whatever. And I was like, this is what you do. Like when you write something that sort of is even mildly critical of someone, you show up and you take the heat, because I think that's an important part of journalism. So I try to kind of phrase it in a funny way. And I was like, I don't know who would do this, but did you see any of the chatter online about how you had sort of blown your chance on Saturday? And he did not think it was funny, to his credit. Perhaps proof that he is a vicious apex predator. Was like, no, I didn't see it. And then he kind of stared at me for like a half second longer than normal and was like, but whoever did it, hell of a call by them. And I was like, oh,
whoever did this, we'll hunt you down. We will find you.
No, 100%. Like, congrats to JT. He basically he became, he did the thing that I was like always wanting him and Rory to be. And maybe it's sort of proof that, you shouldn't. I being the hot take guy has never been my thing. And I think it was not a hot takey column. It was sort of just more of a sad lament. You know what? That's just what happens. Sometimes it's awesome. I mean, I was joking like during the morning with Kyle Porter, like, there's that famous story about the Atlanta Journal-Constitution columnist who wrote that before '86, like, Nicklaus is done. He's probably not good enough to win this Masters anymore. And Nicklaus like cut it out and posted it on his refrigerator. And then every time he went to the refrigerator during the week, he got more and more pissed off, and it sort of fired him up. And he told this story to reporters. And I was like, that'd be funny if that was me. Like, this is the modern equivalent of that. So, then JT didn't even see it. So that had nothing.
Barbara,
to do
you
with
believe
it.
this?
Barbara, can you believe the AJC guy?
What do you think of Rory today? Like I think in the context of that column, like, conversely, we just had a long debate about, should we feel positively or negatively about Rory's performance this week?
You almost went 0 for 2 in that column, which would have been sick.
That's true. It would have been sick. If they had gotten in a playoff, I would have just had to walk into the creek and retire.
What if they got to playoff? If they got to playoff and they all bogeyed every hole, you would have looked like a genius.
This is true. Honestly, like, didn't Rory just do exactly what I sort of said that he might do, which was like kind of tease us a little bit, and then kind of, he did make a birdie on the back 9.
You're right. Good column. You're right.
Honestly, throwing out like the journalistic, principles of objectivity, like, it crushes me when Rory doesn't do well, because I want to believe that, like, my worldview is the right one. And I feel like Rory and I sort of share it, like empathy and kindness and, just being sort of a mensch in general. And I think the truth is in sports that sometimes what actually serves you is being kind of a stone-hearted prick. And that's a reality to sort of have to face. Look, is it harder to win majors now? I think there's probably a good argument, and I sort of stepped in a little bit more on Twitter today, kind of trying to explain this. But if you are, you can tell me for sure that the tour is deeper in general. I believe that. What I don't think that has an effect is like guys backing up on a Saturday. Like, why is JT and Rory shooting 74? Evidence of that the tour is deep all around. Now, JT kind of winning from behind in some ways are proof that some of these guys aren't actually like legit great players to me. But honestly, just it'll go down as a super fun major to have covered. I'm going to do my best to sort of, write about the drama of the playoff, and also like offer up a little bit of a mea culpa to JT, but without trying to make this about me in any way. So.
KVV, what like going back to that point about guys backing up on Saturday, I think the counterpoint to that, and I don't necessarily even subscribe to one way or another, but just like raising it is, wouldn't it be like Max was on earlier talking about how, in regular PGA Tour events, at least, you have to feel like the pedal is down. You got to make so many birdies. You got to stay ahead of these guys. You're putting so much pressure on yourself to stay, like, basically to stay ahead of the masses, to stay ahead of all this depth. Do you think that that's like, kind of the macro sense of, oh my God, it's so freaking deep out here. I got to play perfect golf to win this, when that's not actually the case. You just don't need,
Maybe.
like, to avoid the big mistakes.
Maybe. I mean, I guess I could sort of buy that more in like regular tour events. Like, okay, I got to make 10 birdies today or else, I'm going to fall down the leaderboard. Whereas in majors, I think this is sort of proof that like 68, JT shoot 67 today, like 3 under par is not exactly like a score that like blows the doors off anybody. And it just seemed like yesterday on a day when the course was hard, certainly, but it wasn't like overwhelmingly hard to where, shooting 71, 72. I think what maybe sort of influenced some of this was like watching Tiger on Friday, where he had, nothing in a lot of spots. And like, I don't want to get like too kind of hardo about, oh, Tiger never quits, Tiger never gives up. But what I think Tiger never does is like, he never kind of loses focus for those moments when it's sort of like, okay, well, double's a killer here. Or, if I give myself a chance to make this putt. And there's a lot of talk about, well, it's so unfair to compare these guys to the greatest of all time. What, isn't that sports? Do you think that like anybody like in the NBA was ever like, well, he's not Michael Jordan, but that's okay. Like, he's just a nice player. I feel like that's kind of how sports work. Is like, if you want to be great, you got to sort of chase, the greatest to ever do it. And so I feel like it's a little bit of an excuse sometimes to be like, well, just let these guys be like kind of good and kind of like I don't think Rory and JT thought that a long time ago of like, well, I'm never going to catch Tiger. They thought, man, that's the goal. That's what I want to do, is be great. And they maybe didn't want to like burn out their lives in that sort of sense the way that Tiger did, but I think that they really wanted to put the pedal down and be great. And so I think it's a fair comparison if you like sports and you follow them in that sense.
To the point about depth as well, I was talking to somebody offline, and they made a good point in that, golf isn't unique in that there are more good players playing professional golf now than there were in past years. Like every sport has, every sport takes advantage of the nutrition and the training and the technology.
Sure.
You can look at bigs in the NBA, right? But what makes a guy like Joel Embiid is he still separates from the pack. And I think that goes into what we're talking about with some of these guys today, these golfers, is that, just because there's more depth and guys are, that's everywhere. Like, that's not a golf thing.
Sure.
And I think that's exactly right. And that the whole fun of being a fan is to like see greatness and to have these comparisons and arguments and who was better. And so
to that, Randy, I like the math still for like NBA winning a title is still 1 out of like 30 teams, right? Whereas now, like in golf, it's dog eat dog. Like, just you have to climb past the next guy and the next guy and the next guy on an individual basis. If it was
true, but there are 4 majors, so that's where it does feel a little bit like it's not just there's one title every year in the NBA, so only one guy gets to be crowned, but there's 4 majors, so it's a little bit different too in that sense. And you can be crowned in different ways, and you can win a couple majors, and it's not quite the equivalent to winning like, 4, maybe it's the equivalent of winning 3 Super Bowls. I don't know what the exact sort of conversion
and now
would be.
there's nobody, like, I would argue there's 50 guys out there that can win one instead of 100, right? Like, the top guys have kind of separated themselves. Like,
I think the number's way smaller.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That can win a major?
Yeah.
Can win a major?
Yeah, but like,
I mean, Mito Pereira almost won one today.
Yeah, but then he didn't.
I know, but like that very, very, very easily.
I'm just saying there's a lot less like random dudes taking off.
I think this
5 years, right?
I think this major would have been a great example of the depth argument had JT come up just short. Like, had he lost by a stroke, it'd be like, oh, this tour is way deeper. So like a Mito Pereira, who like a lot of people don't even know, could win a major. And JT is great. Part of the problem for me in that is like JT and Rory hadn't had like the sort of, finish in second, and they just got outplayed by one other dude. It was like they kind of would get in the mix a little bit and then regress. And that was just kind of like, I'm not trying to like say it has some reflection on their character. It was just sort of a bummer as a fan because you want JT and Rory to be great. That's why we were interested in golf in general, right?
We had a big text thread this morning, Randy, KVV, Pooch, and I, about just like talking about, the TrackMan stuff and all that. And it was really interesting to actually see, like, I was complaining a little bit of seeing, like, when Gary Woodland won the U.S. Open at Pebble, like, you didn't feel like that was ever going to slip away from him because the ball doesn't spin. The fucking driver face is massive. Like, it's tough to chase. It's tougher to chase in these in these majors now. But I think also like there's something to be said for when more variables get added. There's like a lot of these guys don't really know how to play, right? And I think that's why like I think it's fucking cool that JT won, because like he's one of the few guys that like is good on a track, man, and also knows how to play real golf.
Yeah, it's so true. And that wasn't true like very early in his career. And he admitted like that Tiger did him a huge favor by saying, you don't shape the ball enough. You don't work the ball enough. I was just talking to Mike Thomas about that. He was like, yeah, when Tiger Woods tells your kid something, your kid's going to actually take it to heart. Like, as a dad, you can say like, hey, you need to shape the ball better. But if he's already great, like who's going to listen? Well, Tiger can get injured, can get that lesson across pretty good. So.
And have the
week to
week
generation of ball speed imposters out there,
right? Which I think is reinforced week to week on the tour. I mean, have major conditions ever been more divorced from the week to week throughout the history of the tour?
Well, and shout out to PGA of America putting their foot down a little bit in recent years and making it's a U.S. Open adjacent test, and it's not always been that way.
I wonder if the move to May will help that as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like some of these golf courses getting a little more unpredictable weather, not getting just like really, really hot, wet weather in, Oklahoma during the summer, or even like Oak Hill would be so much different in August than it would in May, right? Like there's going to be a lot of, I think, hopefully if the Frisco course, the Gil Hansen, Jim Wagner Frisco course turns out to be what I would expect it to be, hopefully that looks a lot more like a major championship, ball buster test. So, yeah, it's great. I also think you mentioned something, KVV, on Tiger, and I know this can sound like a kind of Nance throwaway, like everybody's friends thing, but I think we're gonna look back on the JT Tiger mentorship as like a massive fucking deal going forward for the next 10 years. Like that's a really, really big thing.
Yeah, it's funny. Like he said that Tiger was talking to him last night. And JT was like, yeah, how you doing? And Tiger was like, well, I was pretty sad because I kept seeing your name fall down the leaderboard. And so it's like, in some ways, like Tiger was kind of teasing him a little bit and getting him sort of, psyched up. And 100%, like, how did you not sort of learn? I mean, he's learned a lot from him, sort of how to hit certain shots, but also just kind of how to stay cool and be, be in it, right? I do think that for sure that the biggest thing that kept him in it is like he hits a shank on 5 today and he doesn't melt down. He definitely thought, he said throughout the round that there was times when he made a bogey on 3 and shanked on 5 and was like, well, I guess this isn't going to happen. And that's a kind of pretty honest admission to think, but I'm sure, that it's part bones, right? But it's also like everything you've learned from the greatest winner of your entire generation, that you might just hang in there and guys might fall apart. And that's
I gotta think some of that's going to seep in, hanging with like the best winner ever at anything. I got to think some of that's going to take. Which speaking of Tiger, I know you wrote about Tiger earlier in the week, and I don't know if we want to kind of, rehash everything that you spelled out. I thought you wrote an awesome column about him. What was that, Friday night, I think, right? After the cut. Just your impressions, I guess, of watching him in person. We've certainly talked about it kind of at great length, but I'm curious what else you had in the chamber on that front.
I just think it's sort of my point largely was just that you can feel however you want about this. Like if you're feeling inspired and hardo like this, then great, because there are times when it's like, wow, like this dude really is kind of loving golf. There's this great Federer quote from a couple years ago that's like, maybe I just really love tennis. You guys keep asking me like, why am I hanging around if I we can't win championships, and this is what I've done all my life, and I like tennis, and it's okay. It's okay to just do things that you love without having this sort of killer mentality. And I think that there might be some of that in Tiger. Maybe he just doesn't know anything else. And I also think, talking about Zatron, I think there's a part of him that kind of likes the pain a little bit. That he certainly likes being the warrior. He's grown up in this sort of household that was like telling tales about, I went through this tough stuff, his father. And so I'm sure on some level, Tiger thinks like, golf injuries, man, golf injuries are nothing, man. Let me tell you about special forces. And so
we were talking about this last night with Cody. He wants to be Cody.
We're talking about the time my dad was pinned down by enemy fire for 6 days. Like that's kind of, I think, how Tiger would view it. And so But I think it's also okay if you look at it and are like, this is sad. This makes me sad because it's not really so much about Tiger. It's about me. It's about my memories of what he was. You know, I'm not 25 anymore. I mean, I was 21 when he, or no, excuse me, I was 18 when he won won the Masters. I remember it really well in college, like kids watching it in their dorms and thinking like, wow, like a black guy just won the Masters. How amazing is that? And it's hard to think about myself as like an 18-year-old, as a 44-year-old, but like Tiger's one of the few things that can immediately take me back in that time. And so to see him kind of a little bit broken reminds me of how kind of old I feel some days, and like how much time has passed in that sense. So I would guess, to be honest, that it's maybe a no for Brookline. I don't have anything to sort of support that other than a guess, but it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, that right leg is pretty bad. I mean, it's seeing him kind of when he walks away from the cameras and stuff, you can't see where he's like going down steps. It's super ginger. It's like very much like step up to the same step in some ways. And you know, if I just hope that there's not ever. I mean, I think I heard Cody say this. Like, the country club's got all those like exposed rock and like crooked thing. I would hate to see him like take an awkward step and like break an ankle, and then how much more can that sort of take? So,
got to protect it for St. Andrews. Otherwise,
Gotta
I
do
mean,
it, for sure.
I think to your point, like it's about the golf, but B, like it's about being out on stage for him too. Like I feel like he needs that. He liked being up in front of the media. All that.
I know you
Early
gotta
deserve
run.
it for sure. Yep.
You got to run and do some real boy writing, but we
Wow.
really appreciate you calling in and face the music. And I cannot wait to read what you write tonight.
If you happen to text with JT in the weeks or months to come, tell him that I deserve all of the dunking, and that I was hoping in that press conference that we might get a like, where's Alan Shipnuck kind of situation, because that would be sort of funny. But again, I think it's proof that JT is more of a killer than Rory. he didn't want anything to do with it. So he
KV trying to insert himself in the story. So thank you for calling in, bud. We'll do it again soon.
All right.
Cheers. I want to give a shout out to our friends, of course, at Rapsodo at rapsodo.com/NLU. You can use promo code NLU for $100 off our favorite mobile launch monitor. These things are incredibly accurate. They get within 2% of units that cost $20,000. The Rapsodo mobile launch monitor app automatically tracks your stats, stores video with shot tracer. It's helpful for club gapping, understanding the true distances you hit each club. It's also super helpful at the end of your range session. You can see a map of every shot you hit. You can start to understand your patterns. You can start thinking like, oh, I was striping it. Oh, actually, I was just flaring balls off to the right, or the left miss is way more in play than I actually thought. The Rapsodo mobile launch monitor provides immediate feedback and data, creates a better practice environment, keeps you from mindlessly hitting golf balls. Very portable, fits on the side of your golf bag. It's the size of a rangefinder. You can use it both indoor and outdoor. Rapsodo.com/NLU, promo code NLU for $100 off a mobile launch monitor.
$100.
$100 off.
That's great.
It's a great one.
People should do that.
Yes.
Major
Should-
discount.
That's great.
Definitely do that. All right. Where do we need to go? What are we gonna?
I think
next?
one thing with Cat, I've just been struggling with this all week. It's like if Cat, like going back to that Federer quote that KVV said, if Cat loves playing golf and loves like and he needs a few more reps to feel like he's prepared for St. Andrews or whatever, like that's where I can't get over. Like then go play Colonial or go play.
I think it's the juice, man. I don't those events don't have the juice.
Doesn't have the juice.
Yeah, for Cat, the action is the juice. It's. I think it's like majors. The lights are brighter, the grandstands are bigger, the stakes are higher. And again, we were kind of saying it. I don't know if that was Saturday night or whenever we were talking about that, but it was last night after he WD'd. But if he catches lightning in a bottle at one of those, then 15 goes to 16. Right. And that's all he cares about. I don't really think he's not out there trying to win the Heritage. He's not out there trying to win these events that he's literally won 82 times.
But I think rocking up at one of those, like, and working on his game a little bit, I think that prepares him to, like, he is trying to win the British Open by rocking up at one of those.
I just think these take so much out of him that it's just go home, repower, recharge. And
but if you could
I
get
don't
the
think he's
same amount of
building strength, though.
preparation
yeah.
and reps without it taking as much out of the tank, like you pick the flattest golf course out there. I don't know.
I think he would rather be in a cart practicing and getting golf swings in that way.
Yeah.
Would be my guess, rather than all the full ice bath treatment and all the stuff he's got to do.
God, it looks
He's a
miserable,
masochist, man.
It looks so miserable.
I How do you guys want Southern Hills? What did you guys think it was going to be going into the week, and how did it end up comparing to what you thought it was going into? I'll say, like, I thought it was going to be like a 9 out of 10 golf course, and I think it was about a 7.5. I think for me by the end of the week.
I think that sounds really fair.
Yeah.
I would co-sign that. I think weather kind of not boned them a little bit, but the day where they couldn't cut the greens, and I think they probably had to keep things. Maybe not. Maybe I just had a misunderstanding of what they were going to do. But I thought the surrounds would be a little spicier. I thought that, especially on the weekend, right? Like when you don't have to worry as much about pace of play and getting guys around, I thought they would put some more teeth into it. But I still enjoyed watching it. I thought there was a lot of really, really interesting holes on the back nine. I think a good litmus test is always like, how well can you remember the holes after a week of watching them? And I feel like I could spell them out pretty well. You remember where the par fives are, where the par threes are, what's going on 18. That's too far right. That's too far left, blah, blah, blah. And I had again, kind of going back to the majors separating themselves. I think the golf courses play a huge role in that. And I had exponentially more fun watching this golf course than I do watching the PGA Tour most weeks. And, it wasn't like what I think a Pinehurst is going to be, or what I think LACC is going to be, or some of the courses that we have coming up. But I think 7.5 is a very, very, very good assessment. I would co-sign that.
That's not grading on like a 6 is bad scale. Like a lot of people default like 6 out of 10 sounds bad, but like don't scale, if you will.
Zero's bad.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative, like a 3 or 4 would be
Bell Reeve. You want to get in?
No. A Bell Reeve would be like a 2.
Yeah, I do that.
No, I'd say not even the surrounds being spicy. I think it's the greens being spicy to bring the surrounds more into play.
I thought we'd see a lot more of the slow trickles. Like, oh God, he caught the
no.
wrong side of that slope, and now it's going to roll for 30 yards.
I turned to Saleh after Rory, hit it past the pin and then it rolled back down. Like on 17, like that was a really good pin on 17 today. And guys having to deal with that shaved bank and all that. I thought we were going to see more of that in play on like chipping up and having to worry about going long on something or a ball spinning back or whatever. It just seemed like the slower greens definitely played a part. I don't think slow greens are necessarily a bad thing, but also like I do think that they probably were a tad slow, that they took out some of they just made the course a little bit more vanilla as far as the greens go. I thought the par threes were like really, really boring.
Yeah.
I like more variety day to day, more mixing up. Like they need a short one. They need just more variety as far as distances go. I like 9 and 10. Like there's some really good medium length par fours on that golf course. And then I like the 2 par fives are good. That finishing stretch is great. Like I would say, I think 7.5 is very, very, spot on.
Randy, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. I don't have any disagreement with what you guys have said. I think, honestly, sorry, this is not a joke, but I wish they would shave down some of the roughened spots to let the ball even roll more into hazards. That's something I always think about from your takes at other places.
Shout out to the Travelers.
Would be
shave that bank on 15.
Would be the only thing I'd add. But I thought it was a very good major test and challenge.
Can I ask you a couple of questions? We did this with the PGA Championship the other night. Would you rather have this or would you rather have that? Yeah. Let's do the U.S. Open courses real quick. We'll run through these very quickly. Torrey Pines or Southern Hills?
Southern Hills,
of course.
Southern Hills, yeah.
Wingfoot or Southern Hills?
Southern Hills.
Southern Hills.
Pebble or Southern Hills?
Pebble.
I'd say Pebble.
Pebble with it. We need a little more spice than we got it for the U.S. Open, which I know is not part of the question, but like the spice this week helps show off a decent amount of Southern Hills.
It's still more fun to watch.
But this wasn't even spicy either.
The wind, though, I'm saying like some wind, and we just didn't get wind at Pebble.
Shinnecock or Southern Hills? I'm going Shinnecock.
Shinnecock.
Aaron Hills or Southern Hills?
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I wish
I don't remember anything of Aaron Hills.
I missed.
We played there together.
Wouldn't that? I'm bad at remembering golf holes, but I didn't watch much of the Open when Brooks won there, so I don't know.
Oakmont or Southern Hills?
Oakmont.
Yeah.
Chambers
Great
Bay
Midwest venue there.
Honestly, I don't think that's
dude. I love. No, you guys have not played Chambers Bay.
No, I'm saying I think it's Chambers Bay.
Oh, Chambers
I'm way
Bay
in on Chambers Bay.
Fucking sick.
Yeah. Pinehurst number 2. Pinehurst for me.
I think Pinehurst can learn a little bit from Southern Hills. I do think there's something to be said for the end of the grain, keeping the the surrounds not fuzzy, but just a little bit longer to where like you can't
Forcing guys to
you
chip.
can't putt because I don't want to see Martin Keimer putting from everywhere.
What Pinehurst can get away with is there's some of those slopes are so severe that you can make it hairy and the ball's not going to stop on it.
That's true.
But it's going to prevent you from being able to putt through it with ease.
Yeah.
To your point, you want people chipping over that stuff. I think they can do that a little more than they maybe did.
Because I feel like the last time they had it there, it was much more like it was still growing in, and I think all the stuff off the fairways is going to be much more grown in and much more of like a slight penalty versus. It was not a penalty the last time it was there.
Three more before we get back to Pebble. Marion or Southern Hills? I think I'm taking
Marion.
Southern Hills, but
Marion.
I remember Marion being very weird, but
it was a super weird setup.
I'd like to see Marion in a non-Mike Davis setup, just like Shinnecock.
Olympic. I think I'm taking Southern Hills. And Congressional, probably throw that one out because we haven't seen the redo yet.
See the new one.
Same with Olympic. Like they're about to redo that too, right?
So I think Southern Hills holds
quick
up pretty
plug.
well.
Watch the women's KPMG this year is at Congressional for an early look at it.
Shout out to Gil Hands.
He's having a moment.
Literally everywhere.
He didn't do Congressional.
I thought you. Oh no, that was
Andrew Green.
that's right. Sorry.
And our
DJ regrets the
He did another one.
Yeah,
Like,
my bad.
what?
My bad. I just assumed he did.
and our favorite zookeeper, Keith Foster.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Tough.
He's not actually dead, but he did some bad shit. You can Google that. Where did you want to? Did somebody? Were you getting ready to say something, Randy? Sorry.
No, I don't think so. Did you want to talk about anybody?
Randy, I'll give you some props. You called out Chris Kirk in your picks this week.
Seriously.
Well done.
Top 40. He eked in at T5.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, any of these guys that finish top 5, top 10, top 15 that you want to call out, or I guess conversely, can we identify some true backdoor like Brendan Steele? I had no idea he was even in the tournament.
He did not stop the steal. He got in the top 10.
Finished tied for 9th.
You know what? Good bounce back from Tom Hoagie.
He had 3 rounds at par or better this week.
He looked like he shot himself out of it after a brilliant 66 in round 1. It looked like he just ejected, but
which one of you guys is buying all the Tom Hoagie stock?
I think he's really good. He's really freaking good, man.
I'm not saying he's not, but I know somebody.
That's a watch this space. That could be a good one for Colonial next week.
Listen, is Hogecoin volatile? Yes, but check back in 5 years, and I promise you will not regret it.
Guys, only one guy
in
the entire field got better every single day.
Oh, I always love this. Is it Tommy?
Maybe.
It is.
It's
Tommy.
probably
71, 70, 69, 67. Solly, give me some strokes gain stats on Tommy.
What do you want for his week?
Finno was like, "You guys haven't talked about." He was texting me. He's like, "You guys haven't talked about us yet." I was like, "I know. I'm going to ride for you."
33rd in driving, 16th in approach, 15 around the green, 17th putting.
Very well rounded.
All around.
Yeah,
good week for
Tommy's coming, guys.
Listen, nobody would that would make nobody happier than me. I would love to see that. But again, you guys can't speak out of both sides of your mouth.
No, DJ, let me get in front of this and saying Tommy is not coming. Tommy is not coming.
lowest aggregate score on the weekend, -4.
Because I know what you're saying, and I don't want to be party to that. Tommy is not coming.
Distancing yourself from TC.
Yeah.
I hope he does. Tommy at the old course would watch, man. Tommy at Brookline seems like it'd be a great fit. I'm with you.
Tommy at LACC.
However, your takes are going to be meaningless unless you show a little humility here and point out Tommy has stunk largely.
Hey, I staked him this week for a top 5. He finished T5.
That is not what I said. That is not what I said.
I put my money where my mouth is. I put my nuggies where my mouth is.
But you have to just a hair of empathy for our side of the argument here.
Listen, I will never forget the 5 or 6 iron that Tommy hit in Abu Dhabi into the wind, into the sun.
It sounds like you might because you don't remember what he hit.
Your Honor, no further questions.
DJ,
they haven't talked about Fitz yet.
DJ, I know what you're saying. This makes I hate the optics of this, but I am with you.
Thank you. I appreciate you reaching across.
Yeah, Tommy's Tommy.
You detonated our voting block that we typically have.
What do you want to say about Fitz?
I mean, Fitz was in it all day. We got to talk about him. He shot 73. Like we got to talk about Fitz.
I was, I think I picked him as the guy who was going to emerge from that pack last night and win. As soon as I saw him chipping cross-handed for the first time, I reminded myself that maybe that wasn't a great idea. TC, again, I'm not trying to be glib. I'm not trying to be chippy. Claimed multiple times on multiple platforms today that he had a number of, quote, big dick wins, which is not true. TC, is not true. It's not true.
It's not true.
And this is where I think the confusion is. Solly and I were talking about this. I don't doubt that you think they're big dick wins and that you consider them big dick wins.
I
But
said
again,
big dick wins on the European tour. He's won the season
like two of
ending.
those.
He's won the season-ending event twice.
sure.
Like Morikawa's in the field, Rory's in the field, Hatton's in the field. Rom, it's been going over. P goes over for that.
It's like saying Neil got a big dick win at Tour Sauce last year because it's a big deal to us. It doesn't mean
It's the second biggest tour in the world.
You just named off 5 players. It's crazy those 5 good players separated themselves from the firemen and plumbers that they're
Tommy
playing
was
against.
in the field. No, come on, man.
Thank you, DJ. I don't even have to do this for once.
won
It's
it-
so nice to have
He
some
won it
backup.
back to back. I'm telling, like, it's
That's
everything's
extra damage.
everything's relative. He's a fucking proper player.
He's a proper
great.
player.
He has a
Of
high
course, of
floor.
course.
Huge. He's
He's won 2 Omega European Masters.
again, means very little to me.
No,
but
no, no,
Maybe
no. The
didn't step
Omega,
up
the
to
Omega, dude. A ton of big names have cut their teeth at the Omega Masters. I
Name
will not
2.
touch that thunder. Seven. It's the place Sevy built.
There you
That
go.
drainage pump house off of 18. That's the stuff of legend.
Well, it's when someone starts smashing the Semi button,
These-
they're out of options.
These dipshits today, when he went in the water, these dipshits were saying they were chalking it up. They're like, "Oh yeah, he plays a lot out in the desert. He
There's
doesn't
no
have to
water
deal
out
with
there."
water."
Exactly.
that was DJ. That was not me. I'm a big Matt Fitzpatrick fan. He's a strokes gained menace. I top 10 him all the time. His lack of wins on the PGA Tour at this point is a topic of conversation.
Of course.
It's a
It
little
would only
concerning.
be
If you
fair.
are racking up big dick wins on the Euro Tour and you're playing this many PGA Tour events, that should translate. If those Euro Tour wins mean anything, that should translate.
I might start
Right?
I might start calling him Don Keating.
Here's
You know who's
DJ.
racking up? Tyrrell Hatton's racking up big dick wins, and then he comes over and wins Bay Hill. And he's not in this conversation.
I just want to say the OWGR, which loves the European Tour, says that his third at the Memorial was worth more than his win at the Andalusia Masters.
I'm not. I never said that the Andalusia Masters was a big.
Guess
dick
what?
win.
The Omega European Masters is below that one.
No, but that
The legacy
a
win.
lot of
Unless
guys
he won
get
2 of those.
a lot of guys get turned off by the Omega Masters because that course is funky. It's a true like the real ones show up, and I think you need to
it's the
acknowledge
Swiss
that.
Open. It's a national open.
Yeah,
Again, you love that.
Yeah. No, I'm not taking how you feel about it. I'm not cheapening that. I'm just trying to bring in the rest of the world in on how we feel about it.
He's got a solo second at Bay Hill. Like, he only does well in invitational,
Which is great,
elevated events.
Which is awesome. Which is why I had high hopes today. And
He's a great top 5, top 10
seemed like
guy.
he was kind of holding on for dear life a little bit today.
I will say, DJ, I would apply what you said about Rory with, this is a good week, a step in the right direction. I think we can apply that to Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
I
Here.
think
100%.
he's a guy
Totally.
that's, swing changes and really seems to be playing better. I'm excited to see more of him. But he does need to win. So
I
I'll
wish
your point.
I could shake your hand.
He
Dave.
will
totally
win.
agree.
He will win
Yes.
too. He's a better player. He's the best. He's playing the best golf of his life. He's going to be a force going forward. I'm willing to stake that.
He just works his ass off.
And swing changes clicked like really, really freaking quick.
I
And no
didn't-
one talks about
I didn't realize he had braces.
it. Yeah.
Wearing
That's not
braces
nothing.
and Skechers. A lot going on there.
Any of you guys have braces?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I had
Oh,
braces.
yeah.
All
Beat
of
him
you
up.
had braces?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Like,
Oh,
I don't
sorry,
know, I
Mr.
feel like
Perfect Team.
Braces,
Yeah, I don't know what
braces
to
probably
tell you.
aren't a big thing over in the UK, are they?
Or just outside Chicago.
I'm going to need to stop this right now before we
John.
go.
No, they have bad chicklets. That's like their thing.
Yeah, I
That's their
think
calling
that's a pretty
card.
safe take.
Okay.
I think that's
Ross Fisher needed some braces.
Or
RIP. What a drive by at Ross Fisher.
anything for Hamsterdam?
Yeah,
I see some
CBS
calls in
sucks.
there.
CBS, like
Straight up.
I
But it's
think
the PGA of America's
Yes,
fault.
we've seen how much better CBS has gotten in week-to-week PGA Tour stuff. So I got to
Mhm.
lay this at the feet of the PGA and the fucking 85 people who were standing there waiting to pass out the trophy. I got to imagine that it takes a bit to pay pay for all those people. So the commercial load was inexcusably bad. It did not feel like you were watching a major for most of that, I would say.
The guy that won the major today, was played on tape delay on the 71st hole of that tournament.
Good stuff.
While they're in the playoff, again, while they're in unscheduled airtime, they squeeze in a commercial after they tee off instead of like building up the championship that you're covering. Like they kind of blew it on like building up any like Zalatoris's putt from the fringe. Like if that would have gone in, that would have almost like they barely covered that.
They're just trying to chase their tail all
too
day.
much
They're
stuff.
just trying to catch up.
Solly, I do have something to say tonight. I was really upset that they went to playing through during the whole Zalatoris drop situation on 6.
Which was so dumb.
Granted,
You can't hear it.
Continue to show it. Yeah, exactly. Like, what's the point?
Granted, Randy, that was a 12-minute thing. Like they've never I don't think they went 12 minutes without going to a commercial the whole weekend.
Yeah, that's
so
true. That's just not gonna happen.
That's true.
I will vociferously shout out the ESPN coverage in the positive.
Yeah,
it was absolutely phenomenal. Great talent on the board. Great, great production. The whole thing was locking you in, making you feel like you were watching a major. And CBS, by way of the PGA of America, I would guess, and what seems like a really bad TV contract commercially it's just a very stark.
This is not Seller Shy's fault.
Yes.
No, exactly.
Okay. But the great news is we only have 8 more years of the contract.
Sweet.
So by the time Freddie's ready to take over the NLU podcast, we'll
so Freddie will be 13.
Yeah, he'll be ready by then.
Okay.
Guantan Lang made the cut when he was 13.
I heard that too.
That'd be an indictment on you.
Wasn't he 14?
He was 14.
So
still. First year of the new contract.
Yeah, exactly.
Cody, what are people fired up in the comments? What have we not covered yet?
One more Amsterdam. I think people are looking for a little Ricky love. Your guys' thoughts on how he played, and I think a phenomenal week going 71-70, 71-70. So it's nice to see him back in a little bit of form.
Randy, you want to take this one?
I mean,
he's one of the best players in the world.
He looked like Mike Gundy today.
This is only for the real. And someone said he looked like Butch Vig, guy, the drummer from Garbage. Look it up. It's an exceptional take that I just needed to recycle. Randy, I'm sorry.
No, I love how far we've fallen when a tie for 23rd in a major is. Come on. We gotta give Ricky a little love.
That's been the story for a while now that he has fallen far. This is not the same conversation from when he was constantly top 10ing and you were shitting on him.
He tied a guy that got shot in the head. Aaron Watts.
I had no credit for Ricky. Irrelevant. Next question.
Listen, if we're doing positive, negative, seems like a positive. I hope, but I think we're going to
positive for him. But
we're going to need to stack up a couple more.
Yeah. Truly, I don't care.
I
we don't care.
Bit my tongue on live stuff all week because it's major championship week and I didn't want to do it. If Ricky goes and plays live, I'm gonna have a big problem with that. With all that the tour has done for him, Grant Thornton pushing the Grant Thornton money at him, putting him on Ricky Tour Live every week, like I'm gonna put my hand up on that one. I'm gonna have a big issue with that one.
I think they're not that I disagree with you, but I think their counter argument would be like, well, the tour needed Ricky for all that stuff. Who else are they gonna promote? We're their biggest asset. We got to be out there, and I think there's probably some truth on both sides. But I would.
It was a mutually beneficial arrangement.
It was. Yes, I'm with you though that it would be a stinky move.
I think Ricky, he's up to 111th in the FedEx Cup now. He was 125th going into this week. OWGR wise, this got him. Let's see here.
It's a lot of scrolling.
Yeah, he's still way under 100, but he's moving in the right direction again. Cam Smith up to 3rd.
I know. How about that?
Leapfrogged Morikawa. I was disappointed in Abe today.
Yep.
73. He shot even par, 9 pars on the back 9. Just 4 bad, 4 bogeys on the front, to 1 birdie. Not great there.
Seamus Power, I think that's his first top 10 in a major.
Yeah,
I would think. Moving, big step forward. That's how it happens. Not saying that he's going to go, rattle him off, but top 10 in a major is no small thing.
Seamus Power is also 35.
I didn't realize that.
It's just crazy to me that you're disappointed in Abe with his 73, but give Matty Fitz all the props in the world with his 73.
I didn't give him a prop. I didn't give Matty Fitz props for his.
He's not even the best Fitzpatrick. Can't wait
it was
for
the 73 in the second round in the Raz Al Khamai Open. That really is what's
no. It was Fitzy's whole week.
Oh yeah, Fitzy played well this week. I think yeah, he didn't have a great day today. He clearly didn't have it, but I'm not going to begrudge him like crazy. He like
but a little I will.
Fitzy's punching above his weight.
He is. He's playing good golf.
I've said this a couple times throughout the week. I think we, as a group, probably a more golf world tends to lump Xander and Cantlay together. Very, very, very different players in the majors.
Yes.
And again, just want to point out Xander T13 wasn't in contention. Would still love to see him in contention more, but the dude shows up in majors, and that is cannot be said for Cantlay.
I want to one other note on Amsterdam. The bringing Joaquin Neiman in to talk about Mito Pereira was like badly needed. I didn't realize it to that. I just felt nothing towards watching Mito try to win this until that happened, and talk about their relationship, and then kind of showing Joaquin's reaction and while they're playing 18. Like that was very real. That was good shit from CBS.
Agree.
Big week for florals too. I got to give props to Amanda Renner. She
had a great jacket.
Crushed it with that hoodie
Big
today.
tones jacket yesterday was dope.
Yeah. Really, really big week for florals. It was tough.
Florals are bad.
It was tough to see Rom wearing the tropical themed shirt on
a very non-tropical day
on Saturday when it was low to mid 50s. Lucas Herbert acquitted himself well today. 71 T13. Davis Riley, great week. We talked about Max. We talked to Max. Team Rose T13. DJ, you have anything to say on that?
I only had space in my brain to follow one Team Rose this week. My head's out at Greyhawk at the Women's NCAA Championships, where Team Rose is dominating last week here.
Do you want to apologize for Big Shot Bob finishing second to last?
Yeah, we're monitoring that. That's not great. That's not great.
Can I read back a quote that I think it was maybe Randy passed along, saying the Ryder Cup team in what was it, Randy, 4 years or 6 years was going to be exclusively Scottish?
That's what we were hearing. That's what your guy was telling us.
That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
No, it was DJ's caddy. He was the one telling us that.
No,
in the basement of Molly Malone's.
Sure, and he was entitled to his take. I certainly didn't pass it along to the masses, though, the way you did.
Can we go down the board a little bit more?
Sure. I'm purely telling people what I heard in Scotland.
Taylor Gooch, T20.
If we're gonna go down the board and just read names, you need to give like a one-word description or something about these guys.
Yeah,
people can look at the leaderboard themselves.
Yeah, it's either got to be
I need a take.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sam Burns, disappointing weekend.
Stu Sink finishes unfinished business. Officially got the top 40.
Webb Simpson, bad outfit.
Well, no, JT, like you can't wear that shit and win a major. Like you can't do that. If you're in contention at all, you can't dress like fucking Jimmy Walker or Webb Simpson.
Sure.
And win. Like that, the black shoes and the black hat and the bad pants, like you just can't do it.
Shane Lowry, I think he's going to circle this one as like a missed opportunity. Seems like he should have been. God, he should have been the dude.
Shane Lowry at Brookline. Yeah. Sign me up, baby.
Aaron Wise, RIP.
Shot 71-70 after getting domed.
You're getting shot in the back.
We didn't even talk about speed to this point. Not even once.
I truly don't want to talk about speed.
74th in putting. That's the only thing I wanted to say.
It's not good. I don't want to talk about it.
Solly, props to you. Bubba, T30. You were very vociferous yesterday.
Dismissed him immediately last night. He's not good in majors. I'll say it again.
Andre Arnaus faded on the weekend. A guy who's won some big dick events on the Euro Tour.
Shut up.
Along with Bernd Wiesberger.
Can I throw a discussion topic out, or just I put this together earlier, kind of when we were talking about majors and winning and percentages and Rory, but I threw 7 guys together and how many the majors they've played in and how often they've won. Tiger, what do you think Tiger's winning percentage is in the majors he's played in?
12%.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
16.8%.
Jesus,
man.
Phil is 5.2%. Ernie 3.8%. Brooks 12.5%. Rory 7.5%. Spieth 8.1%. JT 7.7%. Phil and Ernie have aged and probably played some majors past their prime.
They're old.
And Scheffler
and the rest. I can get Scheffler for you.
Scheffler's won 60%.
We'll say, to follow back on Adri Arnaus. He has one European Tour win, the Catalunya Championship, and then he has one Challenge Tour win, the Ross Challenge Tour Grand Final.
Scheffler's 9%. He's 1 for 11. So, I found that interesting in terms of I feel like we have kicked Rory for a long time, and overall 4 majors stands up really well.
Yeah.
I think
keep the faith, brother.
I think there's 9 post World War II players. Maybe there's 12. I tried to count them earlier. The guys that have won more majors than he has.
What about post 9/11?
That's true.
Post 9/11, that would be Phil. Brooks has tied him. Tiger. And that's it. They've won more than him.
There you have it.
Um,
GC, you want to talk about
Ernie had
Kuchar
2.
fading on the weekend?
73-73. That's not going to get it done.
That's not good.
That's not.
P faded on the weekend, 73-72.
Pastor Troy, another made cut at a major.
What about Streelman? Streelman shot 67 today. Finished T41 with a 67 on Sunday. Hovland, 75-70. 70-70, 75-70.
That's
Not
gonna get
good.
it done.
Not going to get it done.
Yeah.
Can't have it.
I'd hate to see Vic go the way of Cantlay. I don't want to see it.
You and me both.
Rom, T48.
Yeah, do we want to talk anything about Rom? I mean, I know we've kind of talked about it through the week. It's Randy, I'm losing the faith. It's a bit of a bummer to say that, but this is a very disappointing year. That seemed like everything was lined up for him to kick the goddamn door down, and we just haven't seen anything even close to that happen. So I would like to just issue a soft apology. Year's not over yet. We've got a lot of big events left, but
Of course.
just a pre-apology. I want to be pre-approved for an apology on that one.
And I'm not even
I don't want
apology, but that's really big of you.
No, I don't want to give him an apology. I'm going to stop this from transmitting on the
He's the
on the internet.
defending U.S. Open champion.
Defending U.S. Open champ 1, 2, like to Randy, like a T3 where you played really great and a T48 are the same thing. So you like don't apologize now because his take when he was T3ing that he was not good.
That's a good point. And I will reiterate.
No. Well, he
No,
kind of
no.
stinks. I will say he always kind of stinks. Like the game is very aesthetically unpleasing. But I don't
He doesn't
think
play the
he's-
beautiful game.
No, he doesn't play the beautiful game. He's a bruiser. He's got a sizable backside. He's just a big meaty guy.
Who did you compare to? Todd Coffey?
Todd Coffey. Yeah.
Are we judging a fucking runway model or a golfer here, man?
No, I just don't find his game all that attractive, and he's good, but he's just he doesn't do a whole lot.
You're
for
swiping
me.
left.
All right, if we're shitting all over Rom, we have to talk Morikawa. And too, Morikawa hasn't, like, Rom's won this year. Morikawa hasn't. Morikawa's last win was the DP World Championship in Dubai, which
Big dick event.
which Matt Fitzpatrick is a 2-time champion of.
I'm going to pin this one to you, Randy, for better or worse. You know, if you're going to shit on everybody, like I said, 155 guys lose every week. It's very easy to be on the everyone sucks bandwagon.
I told you, I love
pinning
Colin.
Morikawa to you for better or worse. And
I
this week-
want him. I want,
this week stunk.
please.
This week stunk.
I think he's the best player in the world, and
Is he a TrackMan golfer though?
he might be. That's what we're trying to assess. Listen, when the facts change, I change. We're monitoring the situation, but I love Colin, and he's won 20% of the majors he's ever started. So where does that rank, Solly?
Pretty good.
But if he picks off all the
Just seems
majors,
unsustainable.
if he picks off all the majors with no conditions, we got to bump him down a notch, right?
I mean, I'll say this: Colin Morikawa has the same amount of majors as DJ and JT.
Sure. Yes. Of course.
He's
course.
awesome. I think he's
DJ
awesome.
had to play
Please
against-
pin him to me.
DJ had to play against Pete Cat, dog, for a lot of years.
I just
All
want it's a true watch this space. And I
A very
I think you
disappointing
guys-
week. To
you
your
guys
point,
are intertwined going forward.
I'm happy for that, and I will happily say extremely disappointing week this week. I would never say anything to the contrary.
You guys concerned at all about the international team for the President's Cup?
Terrified it. Like
Yeah.
Mito under pressure.
Did you
Really.
see all those guys hanging out in the parking lot waiting for him?
For sure. They were finished very early. Yeah. I saw that.
Sebastian Munoz,
No,
Joaquin Neiman,
Yeah, they didn't seem to have very late tea times this
Cam,
afternoon.
Leash, Jay Day.
I thought that was the SGL welcoming party.
possibly.
Are you concerned that the
Like,
guys
you don't have a team.
it went 1, 2, 3 Americans and 2 of them have not played on a U.S. team yet?
That's the thing. I honestly think some of these guys on the U.S. team should put their hands up and say, like, yo, like, give my spot to this guy. Like, I want it. Like, we need to keep, cultivating this depth.
Cody, I didn't even think about that. Straight up, there might not be an international President's Cup team if all those guys go play live golf events.
Honest
PGA
Abe.
Tour is not going to let them.
I had not even.
I had
gotten
not.
far.
That had not crossed my mind, dude.
You know, a lot said this week too about UPS pulling logo from Lee Westwood, but Louis didn't have it either. And like,
Exactly.
I know.
yo, where you at, Louis? He's been pretty quiet on it, but kind of signaling he gone.
Man.
That's sick. they might shut them out at Quail Hollow if they lose like half the team. They definitely will win by Saturday.
I would take a victory lap on that for your. No, the President's Cup's gonna be fucking sick, dude. President's Cup's gonna be
No,
great.
I never said that. I
Yes,
just
you
said I'm
did.
not going to shit on it
I'm
because
saying
team
that.
golf is great.
I'm ignoring
If
it.
they
This
do,
is not
if
a
they
thing.
do that, you know what they should do? If there's no international team that has any chance of winning,
I already agree. I know what you're going to say, and I agree.
they should put the Korean women.
Yes, I knew it.
Hell yeah.
Let them play from ladies' tees.
Yes.
Put the Korean women against the U.S. men and let
Yes.
them duke it out. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yes.
Would watch.
Rasali, do you want to apologize for Hideki?
I did on
He did.
Friday.
Yeah, he
Okay,
did.
yeah,
He
you're
did.
right. Hoshino tied him.
How cool is that? See,
Yeah.
what a good example of, man, I'm watching the broadcast. I'm looking for nuggets. You show that guy make birdie on the last to make the cut. I'm invested in him the rest of the week. It was great.
Yeah.
Anything we've missed from the week, Cody?
No, pretty thorough rundown. The only thing that I'd add about your guys' opinion on Southern Hills is do you think it will come back at all? And then, just course setup wise, I agree with everything that you guys said. The one thing that kind of stood out to me was the sand and how big of a factor it did play this week, and kind of the shining light that it brought out about some kind of people who are spoiled playing perfect conditions all the time. There's a little bit of adversity thrown in front of them and they melt.
I think the sand like that's probably, I mean, granted, he shouldn't have been in there in the first place, but Cam Young, like he probably goes on to win that golf tournament. There's normal sand in those bunkers.
And that's another, it's like to the maturity of JT, like at a different phase in his life, that his reaction to those bunkers might have been very different.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised with that curveball thrown in that he's the one that emerges out of all this. But
Yeah.
I wish
Cody, to your answer,
I think it comes back.
I think it comes back.
Yeah.
It seemed like a
a win.
success on a lot of levels.
crowd noise was just okay.
And that's where it's hard to know, like, this isn't meant to be a shot, but I mean, things go back to Hazeltine a ton not because it's some great golf course, but because they draw like crazy from a corporate standpoint, from a ticket standpoint. So it's hard to know any of that stuff like the week of, and that's clearly what makes the decisions. But I mean, eye test from afar, it looked like a great week. Would happily go back to Southern Hills.
it
But
seemed
who
more
knows?
lively,
Yeah.
like today too, with the weather being normal. I mean, Cody, what was your impression of like the Tolsons?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it was pretty easy when I was being escorted around basically everywhere I need to go by the one and only Mr. Bunky Perkins. So, he's a celebrity. People are going, Bunky, 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 so it was good. I thought there was a lot more people out there than I expected, a lot more people drinking very expensive booze than I expected. But overall, I mean, it kind of sets up for it. There's only one place for a real big grandstand, and that's on, directly behind 1 in 10 tee. I wish that that they would have removed the rope and kind of had people funneling in behind 18 as they did in previous years. But overall, what you don't see is like where all the big hospitality stuff is back by where 6, 8, 9 kind of wrap around. And it was packed back there every single day. So I thought it was good. It's hot. I know like they moved it from the move from August to May helped a ton, but man, Tulsa's still very, very warm. So good on them. Good on the city of Tulsa. There's a lot going on there, and I can't wait to see it back.
I can't wait to go check out Oral Roberts, Randy, with you.
I know.
God.
Oh,
That was impressive.
T's and P's. Never mind. We can say that for the trap draw. I do want to say one thing. Do we need to put the PGA Club professionals on blast? None of them made the cut in their own national championship.
Well, it's because TC kicked out all the tour pros that are now faking their way as PGA pros, and none of them made the cut.
We leveled the
true.
playing field, Solly.
I think the results speak for themselves.
This course was full-time hitters only.
Yes.
As they're
Big boy golf.
they're trending towards. So
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for the Horschel Kokrak pairing today. Like those guys, like, does Billy try to
It
convince
seemed
him?
like a true crossfire.
no, Billy,
Crossfire moment.
it's helping Billy's case that the tour is too big. People are leaving. He wants less people with tour cards or less talent.
Yeah, but
out
I
there.
can see him being like, "Oh, like how could you not be happy here, man? We
Neither of those guys seem like they want to be like, you know what? You're right, man. I hadn't thought about it that way.
I was doing some research for next week, and I popped up the Schwab website, our proud partners at Charles Schwab. And there's an entire hospitality village named after Kokrak. It's like names
he's
do not
champ.
fit together. Hogan, Nelson, Kokrak. I was like, what are we doing here?
And Clearwater.
Maybe they have a
Yeah.
gambling like a blackjack,
That'd be
God.
blackjack or hold'em or
That would be a
something
very
like that.
self-aware hospitality.
Who knows what game Kokrak is playing? But
Quick shout out on the way out here. We've been doing, a little rundown of the NCAA championship after we put out our Stanford video last week, which has again been very, very well received. Thank you to everybody who watched it. Thank you to everybody who reached out. Thank you to Max for shouting it out as well. Stanford is separating. We've got 1 day of stroke play left. They are 9 shots ahead in the team standings. And our girl Rose, Team Rose, 7 shots ahead of second place. 2 people tied at 2 under. Rose is 9 under. So we have 1 more day of stroke play tomorrow, which will crown our NCAA champion. Randy, I believe that is on television on the Golf Channel. And then we get into the top 8 teams make it into match play. So, 1 gets seeded in match play against number 8, 2 against number 7, and so on until there is 1 team standing. But tomorrow's the crowning of the individual champion. Always a very cool day. And yeah, shout out to Rose. Hopefully she keeps the pedal down and wins by 40 tomorrow.
And hopefully not a crowning.
And hopefully crowning's the wrong word.
Yeah.
It's a true a coronation rather than
Thank you.
than a crowning.
capitulation, if you will.
A true capitulation. Yeah.
That is going to wrap the week. I love
Yes.
it. Thank you, everyone, for all the.
We got Charles Schwab Challenge this week. We'll be there.
We'll be there.
Cody, I'm sorry for telling everybody that we will be there, but we will be there.
Anyone from Dallas, send me a Cash App request. I'll send you TC's flight information.
This is a great golf week between
I was gonna say-
Colonial, NCAA
Shadow
Women's
Creek.
Championships, and the LPGAs at Shadow Creek for their match play starting Wednesday. They
Yeah, the
do
women start tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so you can check
the
it on Golf
college.
Channel there.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'll
Nice
say this:
jump out
if
from
if
major.
Stanford finishes more than 10 shots ahead after tomorrow, I feel like they should waive match play. We know who the best team is. We don't need to go through this exercise.
That is such an
love that.
anti-Randy take. Like,
that is
go out and win it. Go play. No, you go play match play.
There
It's
is
like saying,
a-
"Oh, he's up by so much. Don't play the final round." No, he's got too big of a lead.
I gotta
We
check.
know who the best player is.
I gotta check here, Randy, but I was getting some texts. I feel like maybe the top seed has not gone on to win match play. I know match play
on the
still,
women's side.
on the
Yeah,
women's side.
that's we think that's right since
Stanford?
they've gone to the match play
well,
format.
since they've gone to match play, it's probably been 10 years or so now.
Shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, something to watch, man. Match play is very fickle. It's crazy.
I'll say this. You know who's in that 8 spot right now? The first round opponent, San Jose State, which would be
Anybody who watched
very,
knows.
very good matchup.
Yeah,
Bulletin board.
bulletin board stuff.
Real quick. This is crazy.
Nothing is ever real quick.
No, this is crazy. All right, I'm gonna leave the folks with this. Okay. So, Trevor Cohn won the Korn Ferry Tour event today, but last year Cameron Young won that same event in Kansas City. Next week's event is in just outside Chicago,
Of course.
Glenview.
Yep.
Cameron Young also won that. The next 2 events after that, the Rex Hospital Open in Raleigh and the BMW Charity Pro-Am, Mito
Mito
Pereira
Pereira.
won both of those.
Wow.
How about that?
TC, that's cool.
That's
really
that
cool, man.
speaks to your go watch the Corn Ferry when it's
Yeah.
in your neighborhood. These are real players.
And
playing
also,
thing,
this
man.
speaks to we need to get the death panel going to open up more
Thin the
spots.
herd.
Yeah, thin the herd on the PGA Tour a little bit and get some fresh blood because the fresh blood is really fucking good.
I'd like to let's talk some more about that. No, but that's next week on next week's show. So, Cody, thank you so much for running the 1s and 2s all week. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in. This has been probably the most fun I've had doing live shows.
Yeah.
This has just been fantastic.
Shout out to Yeti as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Great to
big
be
shout out
partnered.
to Yeti.
Very excited to work with them. Great people involved. Small shop turned into a big shop. Very, very thrilled to be with them. So we'll be back with them for the U.S. Open.
There's gonna be so much mildew in that cooler.
Yeah, we did mention we're not changing the ice until Rory wins a major. So we're gonna have to, it's gonna be mildew season in here.
New pouch, drinking
That's
the
right.
water.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in all week, and we'll see you back for regularly scheduled programming next week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Crackle.